Will and Zubin, Friday morning on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Thursday, we'll get you ready for Patriots-Eagles and figure out if Jalen Hurts is the answer. And our training camp coverage heads to the AFC South to look at Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer in year one. Thursday, Janae Angola Jr., 4 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
WYNG 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WYNG studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome in the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. How are all of you? Week one of the high school football season officially kicks off here tonight, the Battle of Kettering. We'll talk about that coming up around the corner. Jared Luganville with sports, with Prep Red Zone Ohio, is going to be joining us coming up here just over an hour, or just under an hour from now. We'll talk about the three top matchups in the Miami Valley for high school football week one. That's coming up at 4 o'clock. Jared Luganville, again, Prep Red Zone Ohio. Excellent recruiting analyst, covers the Miami Valley as well as pretty much the entire state of Ohio, does a fantastic job. So we'll chat with him coming up around the corner. We weren't on Facebook and YouTube yesterday, so apparently that meant we didn't have a show to some people. So we appreciate those that do rely on the feed on YouTube and Facebook to take the show in. But we were on yesterday following the Reds game, a crappy series. The Reds again continue tonight as they have the Marlins coming into town to start a 4-game series at Great American Ballpark. We'll talk more about that coming up around the corner. More of the No Fun League, the NFL, and taunting is interesting. One of the owners of the New York Giants had some interesting things to say about taunting, and of course it got a interesting reaction. So we'll talk about that around the corner. More from Buckeyes camp. Buckeyes are in Canton today. They're having a private practice in Canton, Ohio, closed to the fans and media. They're also going to tour the Hall of Fame there as well. So that's why they are media is blocked off from that practice going on today. Browns Bengals camp continues. A former Cincinnati Bengal potentially done for the season. We'll talk about that freak accident there. Kev, welcome. I guess I could welcome
What
you
up,
to the
man?
show.
We got a lot to talk about today. We only got 3 hours, man.
Yeah, so there were some notes. I always had these notes when Kev takes off on one of his 1,000 vacations. Yeah, right. I'm just giving him a hard time. But so when you were off, there was one story I held off to the side because I wanted to wait till you got in to kind of dive into this. When an alliance, when you hear that people are forming an alliance, that usually means that there is something so strong out there that you can't beat it by yourself, and that you need to form an alliance to be able to increase your chances of being able to go after that potential target, the SEC, that potential target for, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and the ACC. Rumors started circulating of just about over a week ago that those 3 Power 5 conferences were going to I think we're down to Power 4. I think that the Big 12 is toast. I have no clue what's going on there. But these 3 conferences all apparently kind of gathering together to form an alliance, whatever the hell that means. But I found this interesting. And if I'm Ohio State, I want nothing to do with that alliance. Because there's only 2 teams who I think are equipped to go at the SEC that don't need an alliance, that don't need the help of the conference. If they want to be good teammates to their conferences, more power to them. But if I'm Ohio State, if I'm Clemson, I just kind of look around the landscape of both of our conferences and say, yeah, the Pac-12, I see why you need us. But let's be clear, the Pac-12 doesn't need the ACC. The Pac-12 needs Clemson. The Pac-12 doesn't need the Big Ten. They need Ohio State. And if you take Ohio State and Clemson out of the equation, I don't know how strong even the alliance of those 3 Power 5 conferences are compared to the SEC. What did you think when you first heard that those 3 there was rumors circulating that they're going to be forming an alliance, whatever that means?
I thought it was a smart move. It's better than sitting around waiting for your teams to be plucked off one by one. The situation, I know we could talk about the teams that are in power now. And I always like to say this, just because something is one way on Monday doesn't mean it's going to be that way on Friday. Things definitely change. We talk about this all the time as well about, just a short time ago, Clemson was a thing. Like getting blown out in major bowl games was a thing for Clemson that they couldn't get over. They got blew out by, I believe the score was like 73 to like 35 when they got blew out by West Virginia in the Orange Bowl. They got blew out in a Peach Bowl loss. They just would get to these major bowl games and have duds and things of that nature. But now we look at Clemson, Clemson like, okay, you're elite. So just because things are one way today doesn't mean they're going to be that way going to the future. So my point of saying that is these teams like Clemson, Ohio State, and other power programs out there, they need to do something to combat what the SEC is doing. And how you do that is you form an alliance. You rally together and to fight against the big bad SEC. And the reason why teams from the ACC have to do this is because their contract with ESPN, with the ACC network, lasts until like 2040. Like, so even if the SEC wanted you, you couldn't leave even if you tried, because you're going to have to cough up like $1 billion to leave. Like, I mean, I know a lot of these boosters have a lot of money and they're millionaires and billionaires, but even if you have that type of money, I would find it hard to cut a check just to leave somewhere, that magnitude of a check. So I'm sure the ACC is all ears open to make sure they don't get left in the wind. And, you know, the teams from the Pac-12, you know, they're almost just like a step above what happened in the Pac-12. The teams in the Pac-12 are a step ahead of what happened to the teams that happened to them in the Big 12. So they're all ears. So the power player in this is the Big Ten, because their contract is coming up sooner than everybody else's. So they can invite these teams to some type of, you know, round robin, some type of situation to make sure they strengthen their conference and strengthen their grip in college football, because there are power in numbers.
So David M on YouTube, and again, excuse me, we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. If you want to jump in on the conversation, search ESPN Dayton on YouTube, like and subscribe to ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. You can watch the show weekdays from 3 to 6. You can also find us on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, and that's where you can watch the show live weekdays from 3 to 6 as well. So David M on YouTube says an alliance, he put in quotations, is okay if it means playing each other one or two non-conference games this season, but even the SEC still schedules cupcake teams non-conference games also. I guess my big takeaway on all of this too is, like, I just don't understand. I mean, at the end of the day, if this is about making it to the playoff, I still think that when you think about the fact that Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC, yes, it strengthens it from a business perspective of numbers and from media rights deals and you know, the strength of the programs there, but it also hurts the conference to a certain point as well. It puts Alabama in a position where they're more likely to pick up a loss or two throughout the regular season than that of an Ohio State or Clemson. And let's say that USC or Oregon or a surprise team in either of those conferences. I mean, North Carolina and the ACC, I think no one's willing to give them big picture credit, because I don't know how many people buy into the longevity of Mac Brown at North Carolina, but I think it's you can't ignore the job that he's done as far as totally changing the culture and the recruiting aspect of how they're viewed on the recruiting trail. But they could be a sleeping giant in the ACC, even if it's for a short window of Mac Brown's remaining tenure there. But I think right now, when you look at it big picture, it is easier. I view it as, business-wise, yes, I see why it hurts those other conferences. But from a getting to the playoff standpoint, I think it opens the door for North Carolina. I think it makes it easier for Clemson. It gives them a little bit more leeway, because now you're talking 2 to 3 loss SEC teams, possibly 1 loss ACC teams. Yes, you're going to get the whole strength of schedule. You're going to get all of that stuff thrown in the face. But again, the resumes look better when you only have 1 loss or no losses versus a couple losses. Even if you have lost to 3 top 10 teams, it's still not, like I said, this helps the commissioner of the SEC more than it does the teams themselves. Alabama's been avoiding Texas and programs like this throughout Nick Saban's entire tenure there, as far as playing home and away. Now He has no choice. So these types of matchups he's been trying to avoid. Now he has no choice but to run into them on top of his regular season scheduled games with the LSUs and the Georgias and so on down the road. As far as I'm concerned, alliance-wise, and too, in the article I read today from ESPN.com talking about some of the different ways that they can target this from an alliance standpoint is scheduling, by not scheduling SEC games, by refusing to give non-conference games to the SEC. And to be honest with you, by not giving those games to the SEC and giving those games to those other remaining conferences. So North Carolina, Ohio State, Clemson versus Michigan, Clemson versus, USC, cutting ties with the SEC completely.
Right.
Now, from that perspective, where are you with that? Ohio State has that huge home scheduled matchup series with Alabama, I think in 27 and 28, way down the road, of course.
Georgia.
But do you see those types of games, teams starting to cut them off? If I'm Ohio State, this is where I'm like, if I'm Ohio State, I don't need this alliance. Like the college football playoff has created its own alliance without them being aligned. Right. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and then on the fringe, you have your Oklahomas and you have your Georgias and teams like that who are regulars. I still just don't think Ohio State needs to be involved in any kind of alliance talk. I think they just continue on as is. I don't think anything changes for Ohio State. You continue kicking ass on the recruiting trail. You continue winning all your non-conference games and getting the impressive wins. You continue dominating and carrying the Big Ten. When I hear people talk about, this isn't a good thing for Ohio State, I beg to differ. I don't think anything has changed. Nothing has changed for Ohio State moving forward. This hurts the bigger picture of the Power Fives more than it does one school in particular. The sun is still the same color today as it was yesterday for Ohio State with all this conference realignment talk.
Yeah, I'm weary about it just because if they do something like this, then what does college football become? It just simply becomes this Power 5 thing, and we only going to play you if it's the national championship game type of rollout and that type of situation. Then it becomes something almost akin to how we look at the MAC and things of that nature. Like, well, you're not we don't deem you worthy enough to play. You're not good enough to play us and that type of thing. I don't want college football to be like that. I love the out of conference matchups. I love those because as much as I love the Big Ten and I love, night games at Wisconsin or noon games at Wisconsin now, and the whole jump around thing, you want that atmosphere. You want your team going to those other teams' schools. Like I talked about this before. I was at the Ohio State game when they played in Austin, Texas. Me and my brother went down to that game. It was cool to see another team's colors, another team's stadium and everything like that. If you're going to rob your fan base and the whole college football fan base of those matchups, of those out-of-conference matchups, we get the Ohio State, Alabama. We only get that in the college football playoff as is. So we finally got one on the schedule, and now it's potentially going to go away. Like that hurts. That hurts a lot. That hurts about the overall landscape of college football because those matchups are so far and few between. And when you do get them, they're 10, 15 years down the line. And then when they're like in reach, 2-3 years down the line, they're going to get pulled. Like, we don't want that, man. I definitely don't want that. And another thing I don't want Ohio State to go to Notre Dame route and be an independent. Like, I want these matchups between Ohio State and Penn State to mean something. I want these matchups between Ohio State and that team up north to mean something. Yeah, they're going to mean something just because they're playing, but like, hey, man, they play in the same conference. You can't get to your conference championship game without beating that team. So this is more and more. And we talked about this as well. This is more and more college football turning into the pros. And I'm not a fan of it at all because college football has a unique appeal to it that isn't strictly all about wins and losses. It isn't always only about the college football playoff. There are the Tuesday night action games that are entertaining, the late night Friday and Saturday night games that are entertaining. Like, there's more than just the college football playoff. And I think we're getting too focused on only the teams that make the college football playoff. which strips away from the overall aspect of college football.
This is not a tape delayed show. I know we're delayed on reacting to this. We were off during this little alliance conversation, but I just wanted to revisit it quick just because I was curious your thoughts on that, Kev, as far as how all of this is aligning and falling through. And then, of course, we haven't heard a peep since this SEC news. By the way, have you noticed that the college football playoff talk has completely vanished?
Yes, sir.
I read a little conspiracy thing the other day that there is no plan to expand the playoff anytime soon, that the talks, and I found this interesting, and I kind of believe it too, because if you pay attention, it's gone ghost.
Yeah.
The playoff talk it's ghosted. It's no longer here. I haven't heard it. I haven't heard one mention of it on any show across the board. I read the other day that the conspiracy theory was that this was leaked about the potential possible expansion of the playoff to get all the media focused over here while the SEC dotted I's and crossed T's with Texas and Oklahoma over here. And I'm kind of believing that a little bit. And I'm kind of believing that the powers that be, I think more people knew about it than we think, and that they needed everyone. They needed us over here sniffing around at this playoff expansion talk versus what was going on over here, because I think this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as where it's going to go. I found that conspiracy theory interesting, and I think there could be something to it, because honestly, there hasn't been one little whisper of the talks of that. There's been no fallout of the meetings. What happened to all these meetings? Are there all these behind closed door meetings and votes that were supposed to be taking place? And maybe they just said, you know what, because of this, we need to rethink the approach to this, which I'm laughing at, because I'm like, why? Because now you're worried that even more SEC teams, this whole thing has just become a huge mess. And enjoy college football this year, because it may not look the same after this upcoming season. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, the last time I heard anybody say anything about the college football playoff was Gene Smith, and saying they need to pause on this whole expansion of the playoff until we get this expansion of conferences figured out. Like, we can't do one, and we can't do them both at the same time. Like, let's figure out the new landscape of college football before we say, like, all right, Texas and Oklahoma joining the Big 12, the SEC, and we're expanding the playoffs. Like, he was just basically saying this is too much, too fast. We need to slow down a little bit. And that was quite some time ago that I heard him talking about that. But you're right. Like, when it's situations like this allows people to have these conspiracy theories, and for people that are non-conspiracy theorists like myself, this gives those people that are credence. Like, I can't argue against that. There's nothing I can say to say, like, well, no, that's not why this is happening. It's clear as day, like, that something's going on behind the scenes that we don't know. Is it things that's going on? The conversations that was allegedly happening between the SEC and ESPN behind the scenes and everything like that, the whole cease and desist letter that Oklahoma State sent ESPN and everything like that, and we're just in limbo. We're just in limbo right now about what's going to happen in the future. Obviously, the season's about to start, and we'll be distracted by that. That's a good distraction, the actual games on the field. But like, if this is a bait and switch to try to get us off of that scent, like, that's scary to think about.
But it worked. I mean, let's be honest here. We all thought that 4-12 was like, whoa, like, that caught everyone by surprise. And I think the powers that be knew that. The powers that be knew that, okay, everyone's anticipating the expansion of the playoff at some point. But I also think that they kind of know that common sense would tell you the adapting to the expansion of the playoff would mean baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
To go 3 times the amount of teams that are in right now, that's why it got our attention. Because, Kev, playoff expansion, that's not breaking news.
Right.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? So that's why they couldn't just say, oh, man, they're voting on a 16 playoff or an 18 play. That's why they went drastic. They went to 12. That's why everyone was like, holy moly, 12 teams? Holy smokes.
Hold your brakes.
Hold your brakes. Shaw, I'm so glad that you said that day, because that has honestly been a reoccurring phrase on the show. But we had... And we're excited. Jason Fitz is going to be a regular on the show coming up here starting in a few weeks. And I remember, last year and less than a year ago, Kevin, we were talking to him about the playoff. He said when he did that mock committee trial, whatever, when they were building the playoff, he said they were told straight up they have no interest in expanding the playoff, that they like it at 4. even if there's a lot of people that complain that whether they're praising it or complaining about it, they're talking about it. And as long as we're talking about it, that's all that they care about.
Right.
And he said, if you expand it to 6 and then everyone's happy, or you expand it to 8 and everyone's happy, and 12 teams get in and everyone's happy, that's fine that everyone's happy. But then guess what? No one's talking about it. And then it's not front page. It's not, then you're not going head to head with the NFL anymore. Sometimes bad news is good news. Sometimes bad coverage is good. Any coverage is good coverage. And I think that's college football's approach on this too. I'm not saying there's something there, but like I said, that's why I buy into it. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, Kev. I don't buy into everything out there, but it does kind of make sense. Not even a year ago, we were talking about possible 6-game expansion. Jason Fitz telling us, no, they have no interest in expansion because then once everyone's happy, no one's talking about it. You're not reacting with emotions. It's just now you're talking about seeding versus who's getting in. This is why I'm starting to buy into it. And I'm like, that does kind of make sense because how did nothing get out about Texas, Oklahoma that whole time? That's because it was about to get out. They threw us over here for a chase, and then they dotted the I's and crossed the T's over here.
All right. So let me ask you these 2 questions. One, are you a fan of the CFP expansion?
No.
Are you a fan of conference realignment / expansion?
/ expansion is in what? I'm sorry.
Like how Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC.
I like expansion. I like realignment. I don't like the faces of I don't like that.
Okay.
Like,
so
it's one thing if the middle of the conference is jumping ship, but like if Penn State left the Big Ten, that's a quality program leaving. But who's coming in to replace it? But if Ohio State left the Big Ten screwed. The Big 12 left to join the SEC. What's left is not that's not a Power 5 conference right now. It's just not. So I don't like that.
So both of them, you're not a fan of the expansion of the playoff or this current.
I'm not losing sleep at night, but I'm not a fan of it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so they came to Kenner. They said, all right, one of these is going to happen, like it or not, but you got to pick one. You got to allow Texas and Oklahoma to go to the SEC, or you got to let us expand the playoff to 16 teams or 12 teams, whatever the heck it is. You got to pick one. You only can pick one, but one of them is going to happen. Both of them you're not a fan of, but you got to pick one of them. Which one will you be cooler with?
The realignment stuff, because at the end of the day, every year you're going to get Texas, Georgia. Every year you'll get Oklahoma, Alabama. You'll get those types of. Every week out of the SEC, you're going to get something like that. So I still think that that's better off for college football than expanding the playoff and leaving it as is. Because honestly, I said that the regular season would be watered down if you expanded the playoff to 12. But even if you expanded 12 now, at least during the regular season, you're still every week going to be getting these New Year's Day quality games every single week, whether it's Texas, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Texas, Bama, Oklahoma, LSU, Oklahoma, Georgia, Arkansas, Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. Every week, it's going to just be something insane. So I still think that that's big picture, still better off for college football from a viewing standpoint. Every week, there's going to be these high caliber games. There's going to be less off weeks, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. I think I would go with the expansion of the college football playoff versus teams bouncing, especially anchor teams like Texas and Oklahoma bouncing to different conferences. I will probably go with the expansion of the college football playoff, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it in the world. I have heard cases for the expansion of college football playoff that make me say, okay, I'm with that. I could understand that, the whole argument about, more teams being involved, more teams, more fan bases having a rooting interest down the back half of the season and everything like that. So that's the reason why I would say, all right, I will be cooler with the expansion of the college football playoff as opposed to basically Oklahoma and Texas leaving the entire Big 12 left for dead. So that's where I will be at with it.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Catch us on YouTube. Search ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Jump in on the conversation there. You can also jump in on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show and get in the conversation there as well. We have, of course, our Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week. Kicks off tomorrow night. Week one kicks off tonight. With some games which we're pretty pumped about. But tomorrow night, ESPN Dayton's Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week. The Fairfield Indians at the Centerville Elks. Week 1 action right here on 1410 Wing AM. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and myself will be live at Centerville. Excited to be bringing you all the action right here all season long on 1410 Wing AM. So Kev Nash and I, we're back hanging out with you here on this Thursday. We'll step away. Week 1 high school football action. We'll take a look at some of the top matchups in the Miami Valley. We'll start with tonight's Battle of Kettering. We'll get to all of that on the other side. What's the landscape of high school football look like here in Week 1 in the Miami Valley? That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be partly cloudy with patchy fog, a low near 68. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 88. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
For the ones going above and beyond. For the ones reaching out, helping out, and lending a hand. For the ones people count on. You can count on Grainger. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, backed by 24/7 customer support and specialists to help with hard-to-find products. Because you've got everyone's back. We've got yours. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're ready to buy something, the first thing you do is go online. But buying a home is different. You've got loan applications, pre-approvals, competing offers, the list goes on. That's where a Realtor comes in. Realtors have expertise and local knowledge to give you a competitive edge that a search bar just can't. And in today's market, an edge is what you need. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first thing to do is make sure you have an agent who's a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hurry to JCPenney and score 3 days of big savings for back to school. Shop hundreds of doorbusters all day, Friday to Sunday, while they last, and stock up on active gear, like 50% off select exertion tees, tanks, and capris for women. Plus, get fast savings on Fila athletic shoes for the family, starting at $24.99. Or use your coupon and get an extra 30% off at checkout. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Doorbusters valid 8/20 to 8/22 and excluded from coupon. Coupon valid through 8/22. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Hi, this is Sales Manager Jason High of Germain Honda Beaver Creek. Personally, inviting you to take advantage of the 0% financing on the Honda HR-V, Passport, and Pilot. Germain Honda has over 200 new Hondas to choose from, including the redesigned 2021 Honda Ridgeline and the 2022 Honda Odyssey, plus over 30 of the brand new 2022 Honda Civics to choose from. Now that's a selection no one else in the region can claim. Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
This is Edwin Moses, Olympic champion and world record holder in the 400-meter hurdles. I'm a proud Daytonian, and I've got an important message today for men, especially you guys over 40. As an Olympian and physicist, I focused on my numbers for most of my life. Over 400 meters, 10 hurdles, 13 steps, 122 races over 9 years, 9 months, 9 days. I ran and I won. Now I focus on my most important stats. blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and PSA levels. Those are the numbers that really count. So if you don't know your numbers, now is the time. See your primary care provider regularly to stay on top of your game, because no matter your age, every day and every number counts.
This message is brought to you by Molina Healthcare and Community Health Centers of Greater Dayton.
This Labor Day, put an end to junk sleep. Right now at Mattress Firm, save up to $500 on our top-rated brands when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend $6.99 on Sealy. Or save up to 50% on hot buys from top brands like Sleepy's or Serta. With our highly trained sleep experts and our low price guarantee, you can rest assured you'll get the best bed at the best price. Unjunk your sleep, only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
Marcus by Goldman Sachs offers personal loans with no fees, ever. Banks offer coffee. So what's more important, a Marcus by Goldman Sachs loan with no fees that could help consolidate debt, or bank coffee that tastes like bank coffee? You can money. Visit Marcus.com to learn more about saving, borrowing, and investing from Marcus by Goldman Sachs.
Investing involves risk and investments may lose value. Brokerage and investment advisory services by Goldman Sachs & Company, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Lending and deposits products provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still. Because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
CVS pharmacists have a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
High school football season is officially here. The season kicks off later tonight. Again, Battle Kettering, Alter and Fairmont kick off later on tonight. Excited about that matchup right there. Tomorrow night on our ESPN Dayton Glacier Softwater High School Football Game of the Week, College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and I will be at Centerville as they welcome in Fairfield, and we're excited for that matchup to kick off the ESPN Dayton Glacier Softwater Game of the Week. All 10 regular season games every Friday night, 7 o'clock. Coverage begins with kickoff. Excited to be bringing you another season of high school football here on ESPN Dayton, but a lot of big matchups in the Miami Valley. In fact, Jaron Luganville with Prep Red Zone Ohio, he's going to be calling in. We'll chat with him coming up at 4 o'clock, a half hour from now. We'll dive into every Thursday, he's going to join us and give us his top 3 matchups to watch for heading into each and every week of the high school football season. Excited for that. Kevin, the team that you're most intrigued by heading in, for me, I don't think it's the most talented team in the area. Alter's pretty talented. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, but Springfield, man, we want to talk like a tighter circle. Alter is right there. Wayne has a lot of talent as well. Centerville, their quarterback, and Harrison's fantastic. But Alter, just down the street from us here, I have to put them at the top of Mo Douglas. That dude has a college factory rolling right now over in Springfield, and they're getting the job done in the classroom and out on the field too. Like, that's what every story I hear about Mo is, that it's not just about football with him; it's about he keeps preaching the importance of it's bigger than just what happens on Friday nights. But he goes, what you do on Fridays doesn't matter if what you're doing Monday through Friday during the day isn't getting done. And I love hearing stories like that because all we do is talk about what they do on the field and we forget. Then we question, hey, I thought, what happened to so-and-so? Why did that kid get... And then you have those uncomfortable conversations of, they didn't get it done in the classroom. Then you feel bad for those individuals. That ain't happening under Mo's watch. At least he's doing his best to make sure it doesn't. But, man, they're talented, both sides of the ball. Their quarterback, Smoot, I can't wait to watch him play. We have quite a few Springfield games, ironically enough, on our Game of the Week schedule.
I'm biased. I'm super biased about this question because my godson plays football for Centerville. So,
the real bad one, right? Is that what you said earlier?
No, Lil Reg is awesome. He's a sophomore this year. Look out for number 20 for Centerville Elks. So I'm super biased. So I'll be rooting for the Elks big time.
So I'm going to make sure I'm very critical of him tomorrow.
Don't try it. Don't try him. Don't try him across the middle.
You can tell that's Kev's cousin right there. I could,
little nephew out there making plays, man. He
plays basketball too.
Plays basketball, plays football, runs track. His older brother is playing basketball at Wittenberg this coming fall. So it's awesome.
So and again, this right here will start, just in the G-Walk, some of the top matchups around the Miami Valley, or at least some of the games. Northmont will be at Butler. Fairfield at Centerville. We'll have that one tomorrow night at Centerville Stadium, of course. Wayne at Dunbar. I like seeing some of these matchups. Wayne at Dunbar. Trotwood's going to be at Dunbar later on this season. They'll be playing at Welcome Stadium, of course. West Carrollton at Miamisburg. St. Ignatius at Springfield. That's a big one tomorrow night. That's a huge. That's one heck of a tone-setting matchup right there for the high school football season, especially for Springfield. So let's see. Beaver Creek at Xenia at Doug Adams Stadium, and then unfortunately the Lebanon at Springboro game. That one has been not postponed but canceled. And I haven't heard anything. I don't know if Springboro ever found an opponent.
Haven't seen anything from the news channels or online yet, so I'll keep an eye on it.
Opponents at Carroll, Troy at CJ, Franklin at Fenwick, McNicholas at Indian Hill, and Baden at Mount Healthy. So there you go. Those are some of your matchups from around there. But I'm really looking forward to that. But that's going to be fun. The Springfield games, the Wayne games, talent all over on both sides of the field. I'm pretty pumped about that. All right. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash hanging out with you here on a Thursday. The Battle of Kettering tonight, though, Alter and Fairmont. Usually we always carry that matchup. We wanted to mix it up a little bit and do something different for week one this year. But that didn't happen last year. That was the first time in a long time that matchup did not happen because of COVID. With it being conference only last year. So it's kind of a little return to normalcy this year, of course, still with a lot of the reality that's going on. But that stadium's going to be rocking here tonight. That's always a great tone setter here locally, too. Just once those two teams hit the field, it's like, okay, high school football is officially here.
Yeah, I heard the band's warming up today as I pulled into the station because anybody knows where the station is located. We're right in the heart of Kettering. Alters this way and Fairmont's that way, so you can hear both bands getting ready. You can always see the little leaguers, the Pop Warner teams out front of Alter playing games before the game and everything like that. So this whole area is going to be hype and crazy tonight for some high school football.
Yeah, I always lay on my horn when they're out there practicing. No, not like to be mean, like just cheering them on, just give them a couple little beeps as I drive by every time. I'm like, no, but I live just a couple blocks from here, and it's awesome at night too. I just, garage beer, sit in the garage, listen to the Reds on the radio here right here on Dayton. Some of the Reds, 1410 ESPN radio. Hear the band out in the distance. Sometimes during the day I go home for lunch. You can hear them out there playing too. So there you go. All right. We got a lot of NFL stuff to get to coming up here around the corner. How about this story? And real quick, Keith Tolliver on Facebook says Anthony Stevens, wide receiver at Springfield, is a beast. Side note, John Legend's nephew and Michael Brown Stevens, wide receiver at Minnesota's little brother. So nice. That's pretty neat as well. And yes, a lot of, Anthony Stevens, we'll be talking about him here in the coming weeks too, as we get to some of those Springfield matchups. Pretty pumped about that. How about this? Have you seen that viral video of the one-armed basketball player?
Yes.
I could have worded that less I don't know. That just sounded weird, but no, he's 6'5", He's an internet sensation who plays basketball with one arm. He received a scholarship today from Tennessee State University. He was part of that Sports Center featured presentation earlier this summer. He didn't have any D1 offers prior to getting one from the HBCU. He wrote, "Blessed to receive my first D1 offer Thursday from Tennessee State University" on Instagram, where he has more than 600,000 followers. I mean, right there, that's a guy that name, image, and likeness, that's going to go. I mean, that's someone you want to kind of tie your business plan to right there, because that's a great motivational story right there. One arm getting a D1 scholarship, HBCU, all eyes are going to be on him in that school. I mean, good for him. The kid has some talent too. Like, I know it sounds funny, but like when you watch the videos, like he has some really good handles. He has good control of the ball. He looks like a basketball player. I mean, it's a complete package. So I'm pretty pumped for him. It's pretty cool.
He's legit. A buddy of mine, he coaches AAU basketball. He coaches 10th grade. I believe Emmanuel Hassel is the young man's name we're talking about. He's a rising senior, and he said, yeah, he's legit. Like, people like try to force him to his opposite hand, but it's almost like better for him, because he's like, you just have to watch him play and watch,
I'm not being funny here, but when you say he's like legitimate, like he can, like,
yes.
This isn't, I'm not trying to be mean here, but this isn't like a congratulations, we're giving you, like, he can play.
Yes, he can play. Okay. He was at one of those prep academy basketball schools in Florida, and like they try to force him to his, offhand, so to speak, or whatever. And he goes that way. He crosses over with one hand, like goes between the legs, the whole shebang. Like dunking isn't everything, but like he's doing windmill dunks, bounce dunks between the leg with one hand. It's pretty remarkable, some of the things I've seen in the highlight tape. But I mean, I don't care who you are. If you're playing basketball and you literally only have, forget one hand, he has one arm. And he has the control of the basketball the way he does. He has it on a string. We hear that phrase all the time, like about a guy like Kyrie Irving, the Isaiah Thomas from the Bad Boys Pistons days and everything like that. This kid has the ball on the string with one hand. He said, my buddy that coaches AAU basketball said he watched 2 straight days of him playing basketball. He only turned it over twice. And like, it wasn't because of the one arm situation. It was because our dude dropped the pass that he threw to him. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't him necessarily having a turnover. Like, this kid is legit. I mean, I don't know how that whole situation will go as competition gets better, obviously in college and everything like that. But this is an awesome story. And this isn't just like a quote unquote feel good story. Do yourself a favor. Go watch this kid play basketball. Like, they got some of his games, the full games on YouTube and everything like that. Like, in high school, he's averaging over 30 points a game. Like, I don't care who you are or who you're playing. If you're putting up 30 points a game, you're doing something right.
Another interesting story too. How about this? South Carolina, they turned to a grad assistant coach to fill in at quarterback. So South Carolina,
my dreams come true.
South Carolina, I mean, a grad assistant. Now that usually means you've graduated and you're not, a grad assistant coach. So a grad assistant coach is now the backup at South Carolina. So South Carolina did not have to look far to find some much needed depth at quarterback, as they added graduate assistant coach Zeb Noland to the active roster this week. Now, Zeb Noland he played, he was the backup quarterback. How about this? He was Trey Lance's backup quarterback.
Wow.
It says that the move comes days after Beamer announced that the starting quarterback, Luke Doty, had a sprained ankle and would be questionable to play in the season opener on September 4th against Eastern Illinois. Noland, who was most recently Trey Lance's backup at North Dakota State, began his career at Iowa State, where he threw for 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in 9 games. So he had a year of eligibility remaining, but he thought his playing days were done. He moved on, and he was focusing on the coaching aspect. They had an opening. It was just kind of a perfect story. I like stories like that. I think that's pretty cool. It may not work out well for South Carolina. I mean, if you have to go to your grad assistant coach, but I mean, at least it's not too often where you get to player coach combo where you get to call one of them,
Yeah, this is, you bring up the point about, this isn't good for them. And I agree. Like, what happened to the recruits? Like, none of them can do it.
Yeah.
Like, you recruited these guys for a reason, right? You gave them a scholarship for a reason. They should be able to go out there and at least hand the ball off, right? So you got to go to a guy that he had planned on, starting his coaching career, get into it that way. Of course, he's going to be willing to go out there and throw the ball around a little bit. I'm sure he still has dreams of playing in the league and everything like that. So kudos to him for staying ready.
So they had 3 active scholarship quarterbacks. All 3 active quarterback scholarship players are injured and out.
Yikes.
They have more quarterbacks that are walk-ons, but he is the most talented, and he at least again, where did I say Iowa State? Not Dan Campbell's Iowa State, man, or whatever the hell his name is. Is that his name, Dan Campbell? I don't know. Everyone's
Matt
Campbell. Who's Dan Campbell?
Lions coach.
Well, Dan, Matt, don't matter. Overrated. Just say it. No. But no, I found that interesting. But that's pretty cool. I like stories like that. And here's another story that was interesting. J.R. Smith. You talked about the HBCU earlier, and of course, now as I'm going into this, my page just reloaded here. What school is he's going to golf? He has,
I believe, North Carolina A&T.
North Carolina A&T. Really cool. I heard Stephen A. giving him some crap the other day because he goes, I love that you're at the HBCU, but the wrong HBCU, because I guess that school is the rival of Stephen A. Smith's HBCU. But this threw me off because a buddy of mine had texted it to me last week, and I'm like, I don't get how that's possible. I forgot he went straight to college from high school, or he went straight to the NBA from high school. He never played in college.
Yeah, he's supposed to go to North Carolina.
And he's a very good golfer.
Yes.
Like, he's a really good golfer.
They say that it's Steph, Clay, then him. He's like the 3rd best golfer in the NBA. That's the word. That's the word on the street.
So let me get this straight. Kobe Bryant. But I thought once you became pro, it didn't matter if you went to college or not. I thought once you became pro, you lost your amateur status
in your sport.
That's dumb.
Because it's the same.
I believe.
thing.
No, I agree with you, but I'm like, that's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
So LeBron James can play football when he retires from the NBA. Technically,
he can show up and line up at tight end, wide receiver, safety, whatever he wants to do at Ohio State. We'll gladly take him. Just the same way when guys go play minor league baseball and they flame out and then they end up going to whatever
Jaguars camp. Oh no, yeah, you're right.
Whatever university, like Chris Winkie. He was a 5-star quarterback and pitcher when he came out of high school from Minnesota. Went to the major leagues or minor leagues, flamed out, showed up on Florida State's campus as a 26-year-old freshman, and won a Heisman Trophy and won a national championship. So as long as you don't play your sport, you can go to school and play.
I hate that rule. Like, my thing is, either get rid of that, either make it to where you can't play any college athletics. Once you go pro, you've lost your amateur status. Can't play any sport at all. Or university. I mean, if J.R. Smith wanted to go play basketball.
No.
If he's going to college. Well, I just think that's, I think it's silly. I seriously, I think it's, but again, the NCAA baby steps. We're finally getting to the point where athletes are getting paid legally. So there's that. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. Just a couple interesting stories there that I really wanted to highlight today. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Justin Fields putting the pressure on Andy Dalton. Andy Dandy. He's always so happy, always in a good mood. But he kind of did something recently that we talked about yesterday that caught people by surprise. I thought it was a fake quote. That's how un-Andy Dalton like this was. It was a fake quote. But the reason I love that quote is because that's how good Justin Fields is performing right now in camp. And we'll talk about that coming up around the corner as well. There was a big name that the Bengals failed to re-sign this past offseason that they got a lot of criticism for. And this particular player could potentially be out for the season, which has Bengals fans saying, I guess we lucked out there, which I think is pretty cold-hearted, if you ask me, but doesn't surprise me coming from Bengals fans. So we'll get to that coming up around the corner. I did watch that Draymond Green and Kevin Durant interview, by the way. Mm-hmm. Still don't like him.
I told you. I knew you would.
New Orleans, we'll get to it coming up, but New Orleans Saints, they had to amend their season ticket refund policy because now that they're requiring masks indoors, for home games, people are threatening lawsuits, trying to get out of that. We're going to talk about that. We're starting to see more teams across the NFL demand the masks or even the vaccination, showing proof of vaccination or a positive or a negative COVID test. We'll get to what's the reaction like across the league and what's going to happen if the Browns or the Bengals do that. The Raiders were one of the first to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a ton of Bengals fans, a lot of friends who are Bengals fans who I'm going to Vegas to watch the Bengals this year. Are you still going? Are you still going? We'll find out. We'll find out how much your Bengals mean to you. A little poke in the arm. You're going to get a poke in the arm to go watch your team get a foot in the ass? Is that where we're going to do that? We'll be back with more of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
O'Reilly. Syntec is back and better than ever at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec is a premium full synthetic motor oil at an affordable price. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec full synthetic and a Wix filter for just $31.99. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Minimize friction, heat, and wear on your engine with Syntec full synthetic motor oil exclusively at
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
Hi, John Glazer here for Glazier Soft Water. We've been making water great since 1988, and no matter what your water issues, we have solutions. Your city water can be clear, but still be hard and have the taste and odor of chlorine. Well water can look, smell, and taste terrible. Glazier Soft Water will fix your water and will even include a 7-year parts and labor warranty so you don't have to worry. Visit our website to learn more at glaziersoftwater.com. Glazier Water really is better water.
Folks, you show it, we'll feed it. Quality show feeds from Lowe's, Umbarger, Hunter at a great price, along with Sullivan Show products right here at Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley. Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus, home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well, medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Save big money with 11% off everything now at Menards, your home improvement store. The 6-inch new construction recessed housing makes installing recessed lights safe and simple. It features airtight construction with built-in push-in connectors for easy wiring. All Lithonia lighting, utility, recessed housings, and trims are 11% off now at Menards. Good through August 21st. Savings are mail-in rebates. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. North Dayton, North Dayton, North Dayton Garden Center.
Hi folks, it's me again, and I'm cooking in the sun just like you are. But you know, you can still plant those trees and shrubs right now, and with proper watering, still gain a full summer's growth. We keep our garden center fully stocked all summer long with thousands of good, healthy trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and annuals, because we know that some folks just can't get it all done in the spring. Also, this time of the year, there are lots of bargains all over our 6-acre nursery and greenhouses. We have potted rose bushes as low as $8.95, flats of annuals starting at $8.95, and hanging baskets starting at $6.95. We still have a great selection of Rose of Sharon, boxwoods, hydrangeas, and barberry, and lots of ponds, pottery, and statuary. So come on out to 1309 Brand Pike, and remember, we're open 7 days.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
There are those who play the blues. Then there's Chicago's real deal. Buddy Guy. Friday, August 27th, Rose Music Center at the Heights. With special guest, Robert Randolph of the Family Band. Buy tickets now at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Buddy Guy, live.
There's no place like Panera. Enjoy a toasty sandwich served on fresh baked focaccia or a refreshing salad with sweet berries. Panera.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. A lot of talk out of Cincinnati, especially with this Jamal Adams deal getting done with the Seahawks. More pressure is being put on Cincinnati to get a deal done with Bates. And, of course, the big thing about this is the fact that there's a lot of pressure in that the Bengals should have got this deal done early, because had they got the deal done earlier, they may have been able to save some money. Now, we don't know the details of what Bates is actually asking for behind the scenes, but this Jamal Adams deal, this lucrative Jamal Adams deal, is really going to make things even more difficult for the Bengals if they're trying to be stubborn on what they're willing to do as far as not wanting to budge on the price that he's asking for, not wanting to cave. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, a storyline to watch throughout camp and even throughout the regular season. And yeah, we'll see how all of that unfolds. The Browns and the Giants are in split practice today, or they're kind of going up against one another. Some video popping out, Baker Mayfield and Jarvis. Those two just have a nice chemistry together. They've connected on a couple huge plays today. They said there's three huge passes, 15 yards or longer that they've connected on. Baker's been extremely accurate. He's been able to zip it into a couple spots that completing passes he hadn't been able to complete a year ago. Do you like these split squad scrimmages? I'd rather see these. I wish that they would. I heard Colin Cowherd say this the other day. We watch anything NFL related.
Yep.
That would get a rating. If NBA Summer League with a bunch of guys you've never heard of gets ratings, why don't you think putting a camera on these inter-squad scrimmages wouldn't? And he's right. Like, I don't know why we do the Hard Knocks show. I don't know why some other network hasn't said, you know what? Why don't we just partner with 4 or 5 different teams and we'll do a whole like every offseason, we'll do our own Hard Knocks version with multiple teams and get a killer rating. I mean, it's insane to me that the opportunities there that, the NFL would jump on if it meant good money for them and networks would pay to do it. I like these. I find these more entertaining than I do the preseason games, because at least the starters are doing the majority of the heavy lifting in practice. That's why I always say I don't give a rip about preseason games. Mm-hmm. The preseason games are used to fill out the back end of the roster. The practices are where you're heavily developing your starters and getting your reps that way. What are your thoughts? But watching some of these clips are pretty cool.
This is where it's at. This is where your team gets better in practice. And then when you go up against somebody else that isn't wearing your own color jersey and your teammate and everything like that, you can get way more physical. I mean, obviously quarterbacks are still off limits. They're still out there with the green jerseys on, the non-contacts and everything like that. But you can't tell me that these fights that we keep on seeing, like I think we saw one with Antonio Brown and I forget who they're practicing against, but these inter squad scrimmages that they're having.
The Titans.
Yes, this is where it's at. This means more. This is way more entertaining than preseason football. And I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so I'm highly invested to what Mason Rudolph and the offensive line and Dwayne Haskins are doing. But I have tuned in to maybe 4 snaps of the preseason. I just can't get invested in it. But if you're going to tell me I get a chance to watch inter squad scrimmage or a scrimmage with another team, I'll be there with bells on. I'll be watching because I know this really means something. This is more. They're getting looks that they haven't seen. You're getting looks from players that don't know your playbook. Like the defense knows the same plays that the offense are going to run. They know what type of setting they're putting in. They're going to be saying like, okay, we're going to set this up. Pretend this is 3rd and 8. Like, all right, I know this is 3rd and 8. I know the type of offense that we run. I know the things that this player does well and this player doesn't do well. You play better, especially defensively, against your own guys. So I would like to see my offense versus another defense that they don't see every day. Not every team out there runs the same defense. You know what I mean? Like the Steelers run a 3-4, other teams run a 4-3, everything like that. Some teams out here running the 4-2-5 and everything like that. I would love to see stuff like that. So I'm more invested in the scrimmages than actual preseason.
Yeah, some other news too out of camp today. If you remember, Carl Lawson, now with the Jets, and they gave him a good chunk of change. Everyone was expecting the Bengals to re-sign him. This is why I said that the Bengals didn't get better, because they signed Hendrickson, who basically just replaced Lawson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. By the way, big fan of Osai. Joseph Osai for the Bengals. He has that wrist injury. I actually haven't even checked to see what the extent of that is as far as how long he's going to be out, but Osai looked dominant. So I said the other day that Hendrickson, the Jets take Lawson, the Bengals end up signing Hendrickson, and it was like, well, you lost one good player, replaced him with another. You're still in the same spot you were last year defensively. People could say I'm hating, but I don't see how you can listen to what I'm saying and that not make sense to you, right? Like, even if Hendrickson's better than Lawson, Kev, it doesn't mean that you are better as a whole defensively. It means you upgraded. I said the other day, I'm 5'7", but if I wake up tomorrow and I'm 5'8", I got taller, but I'm not tall. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, oh man, I grew, but I'm not tall, but I'm taller. The Bengals aren't good, but they improved at that position. Joseph Osai, though, he's what makes that pass rush now a little bit more interesting, because now you have another weapon to go alongside with Hendrickson there. So I find that very interesting. I like that. But unfortunate news out of Jets camp today that Carl Lawson was carted off the field. It's believed that he could have a potential ACL season-ending injury. I haven't refreshed this. I don't know if it's there's been an update or not as far as the extent of it, but it's not good, and no one is looking no one is coming across as optimistic about the potential outcome of what the tests are going to be whenever it's all said and done. So that's unfortunate hearing that come out of Jets camp, because Lawson, very good player for the Bengals. Bengals should have kept him. But anyone out there, he's seeing Bengals fans say, oh, see, the Bengals knew what they were doing. What are you talking about?
You can't predict injuries.
You can't predict injuries. I also find it interesting that apparently AJ Green is like having like a monstrous camp, that they're saying he looks like the AJ Green from 16.
Once a Bengal, always a Bengal?
No, First of all, I'll give the Bengals this. I don't believe that. Look, I think AJ Green, he got older. He declined. I think the reason he'll work in Arizona, Kev, is because he won't be the number one wide receiver. I think the fact that when AJ Green was here, even if he wasn't the quote unquote number one wide receiver, he was viewed as the number one wide receiver. So no matter what he did, it always looked like he's lost his step. Okay, but you got to realize who he is. That's why Fitzgerald's been able to be who he is in the NFL for as long as he is, because he's been able to find a way to get it done. He's like the Greg Maddux of football, where sure, his stuff's not as sharp as what it once was, but he mastered the art of the game, and that's how he prolonged his career. That's what Fitzgerald did. AJ Green, maybe there's a little magic there. We'll see.
Maybe. I mean, they got a lot of weapons out there. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins. They got Christian Kirk. They got our guy from Purdue who single-handedly killed the Buckeyes with Rondale Moore. There's still questions up in the air about if Fitzgerald is going to be playing this upcoming season. Obviously, AJ Green and everything like that. So they got a lot of weapons out there in Arizona with Kyler Murray. It's just a matter of, are they going to be able to win enough games this year? Because they've been on the cusp of making the playoffs, but they got to make the playoffs this year. They got to.
Bengals cornerback Awuzie apparently has been the most impressive defensive player on the field over the last couple of days. I'm not trying to be funny here, but is that a good or a bad thing? When you have Hilton and you have Bates and you have all this talent on that roster, supposedly, he shouldn't be, like my coach always used to say, if Kenner's the most productive player on the floor, that's a problem. And it was true. My role was not to be the best player on the floor. So if I was knocking down shots left and right, if I'm getting steals, if Kenner's the most productive player on the floor, that's a problem. That's kind of how I view Awuzie. If he's your most productive defensive player right now, that's kind of a problem, right? Like, he's not terrible, but he's not the best defensive player on the field.
Yeah, I mean,
and if he is, that means the other guys aren't playing to their potential. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I got my money on Jesse Bates having another outstanding season. I mean, he's in a contract situation. He just saw Jamal Adams get paid big bucks. There's a lot of rumors about the Minkah Fitzpatrick deal getting done sooner than expected. So he's about to get cashed in big bucks. The safety from the Broncos, he's about to cash in big bucks. So look for Jesse Bates to have a big year. It's just something about guys in that good old contract year where they have the best season of their lives, and then they end up getting paid.
All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Last thing here on the Browns, and then we move in to the next part of the show. We'll talk some high school football with Jared Luganville with Prep Red Zone Ohio. Starting to get a little concerned. Myles Garrett has been missing a lot of time on the field.
Hammy.
He's been out and missed some time.
Should have been playing basketball, man.
Grant Delpit, same thing. His hamstring issues come back. He's off the field. Jadeveon Clowney, to no surprise, has been off the field with an undisclosed injury right there. So, look, the good news for the Browns, knock on wood, their offense has been lights out throughout camp. They've looked stellar. The run game's on point, picking up right where they left off, apparently. Baker, all reports are indicating that he's taken a huge step forward, that he is miles ahead of where he was a year ago at this point, which is good news for Browns fans. But we all know they're only going to go as far as their defense allows them to. That's why they couldn't get past Kansas City last year, is because of that defense. I mean, you let the backup quarterback for the Chiefs stay on the field for 8 minutes. Like, that's unacceptable. We know what you get with the offense. It's going to be the defense that's going to either take the Browns to that next level or keep them where they were a year ago. But it all starts up front with the pass rush with Myles Garrett and company. And that Takk McKinley, too, that they added, that's basically been a no-show. So we'll see what ends up happening with the defense of the Cleveland Browns. But it all comes down to the pass rush of Myles Garrett up front. If he ain't there, it's non-existent. Hour 2 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Got a project to do? Use the right equipment and rents from Arts Rental Equipment. With over 50 years experience, Arts has the best selection, delivery, and service, plus 15 Arts locations. Work smart. Rents from Arts.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
The Dave single from Wendy's, made with fresh, never frozen beef, has the power to blow your mind. But now that the Dave single is buy one, get one for $1, as well as the spicy or classic chicken sandwich and the spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, Wendy's BOGO for $1 deal is gonna blow your mind and your speakers. Get these faves, BOGO $1 only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with combo or any other offer.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil is just $18.99. It keeps your engine from breaking down without breaking the bank. Yep, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic for $18.99 is not just a great deal. It's the break you've been waiting for. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations, does not include state local taxes or recycling fees. Advertised sales price may not be available in some states. Offer ends 8/31/21.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6, leaving the light on for families back on the road. Kids in suitcases jammed in the back, earbuds tangled in the dog, heading to see Aunt Jasmine and her rock garden. Admit it, you missed this. And Motel 6 has been missing you. With our clean, comfortable rooms and great low rates, we've been giving families on the move the perfect roadside rest for almost as long as Aunt Jasmine's been putting rocks in her yard. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Contractors, use the right equipment for your project and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. No storage, no maintenance, no hassle. 15 Arts locations and online at artsrental.com. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Spicy chicken nuggets. We didn't say Wendy's, but you probably thought Wendy's because when it comes to spicy nugs, Wendy's is the only answer. Order yours today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Don't miss the ESPN Dayton Glacier Softwater High School Football Game of the Week every Friday night, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will have the call all season long. Check out wingam.com for the complete schedule and to stream the games live. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Jared Luganbill with Prep Red Zone Ohio is hanging out with us here today. I cannot believe it. Week 1 of the high school football season is officially here. Of course, as we've talked about all week, we're excited to kick off the season here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM with our Glacier Softwater High School Football Game of the Week, the Fairfield Indians at the Centerville Elks. But each week, I'm excited to hang out with Jared Luganbill from Prep Red Zone Ohio, who's kind of give us a little bit of a scope of the landscape, a little bit around the Miami Valley, some of the top matchups each and every week. Week 1, Jared, welcome in. I know this sounds crazy. I'm excited that it's here. It doesn't feel like high school football season's here yet. It's a very strange time, but I'm very excited for it to be here.
It is. Thanks for having me on, Justin. As I was telling a player a week or two ago, it seems like the season just gets earlier and earlier every year. And I don't know if it's all in my head or what, but finally, fall is here, football's here, and just so excited to get things going again.
Now, we are fortunate enough. We spoke a few months ago, right around, the National Signing Day. I'm not a big fan of I guess I now like the early signing day announcements but it's watered down the original signing day. And that's when we spoke last and just highlighted a lot of the top talent in the Miami Valley as far as, where they signed, where they committed to. And now there's a new wave of players coming through. And we'll talk a lot about that. But each and every week, we're going to hang out and you're going to give us the top 3 matchups that you view as being the top 3 games to look out for here in the Miami Valley. So I want to kind of give you the floor a bit. Lots of really big matchups here locally. What are the 3 top matchups that you have circled that you're like, oh man, this is a heck of a way to kick off week 1 of the season?
Yeah, so this week, the games that I have circled would be Cleveland St. Ignatius traveling to Springfield. The second one would be Winton Woods at Trotwood Madison, and that one was actually slated originally to be at Winton Woods, but due to some parking lot issues, I guess, or something or other, got moved to Trotwood Madison. And then tonight, Thursday, Alter will be traveling to Fairmont to take on the Firebirds. And so those are kind of the games that I have my eye on right now for this weekend as the top area. Obviously, there's lots of other games that will be going on, including the Fairfield at Centerville game that you were speaking of. That's Wing AM's game of the week. But those are just off the top of my head, the first 3 that I have my eye on and the ones that I think are going to be very interesting games.
Now, you mentioned the Trotwood game just right off the bat. I mean, Trotwood, Springfield, and again, of course, tonight, the season kicks off for Fairmont and Alter, which is a huge rivalry game. We didn't get to experience that last year, which was very interesting that those 2 schools avoided one another, but they're back at it tonight. Before we get to the Springfield and some of the others, just talk about the significance of that rivalry right there and why tonight is such a big matchup. 2 schools lots of talent on both sides of the ball, lots of future Saturday talent on both of these rosters. Tonight's a big one just to kind of return to normalcy a little bit, but also just a lot to prove. Is this has always been a very good tone setter for the year. The winner of this game always sets the tone, and it gets the attention of a lot of media writers around the state. This is a big one tonight here in Kettering.
For sure. Well, the battle at Kettering. So Alder's going to be the team that has some of the more well-known prospects as far as recruiting goes. CJ Hicks, obviously, who's headed to Ohio State. Derek Shepard headed to Cincinnati. And then there's a couple other guys that are defensive backs. Christian Karenga from Alder is headed to FCS Illinois State, and Chase Armstrong is getting strong D2 interest as a defensive back. Fairmont, you have Tank Grant, who's getting D2 interest, and you have Malik Hillian, who is they're going to be their quarterback, who's kind of a dual threat, do-it-all kind of player. And so I expect this game to be one of those smash-mouth games. Fairmont is not an air-it-out type. They're going to keep it on the ground. They're going to try to pound it on the ground and lengthen the game, or shorten the game, rather, and keep Alder's offense off of the field. And so what I expect from this game is just one of those games where the pads are smacking and the players are just going after one another. And obviously, with all of the local aspect of it, all of these kids know one another, and they're all playing for the backyard bragging rights. So it should be an exciting one at Fairmont.
Yeah, Derek Shepard from Alter, Derek Shepard Jr. Really looking forward to kind of watching him. He's, committed to Cincinnati, a 4-star lineman out of there. You talk about how both schools, very old school. Both programs, very old school. They're going to run the ball a lot. From what I know Fairmont, they're going to hand it off a lot. They're going to run a lot traditionally. So is Alter. What about the offensive side of the ball? There's some offensive pieces to look out for tonight. Again, we always highlight the defense, but are there some offensive pieces on both sides to keep an eye out for?
Well, really, from talking to the coaches, there's just there's a lot of unknown, right? When it comes to quarterback at Alder, they haven't really made any decisions and have kind of been keeping hush on that, if you want to say. And so, really, it's going to be, I think a battle of the running games at this point until we can really see what these offenses decide they want to do this year. I don't really have any specifics other than I just know that they want to run the ball and keep things on the ground. And then passing wise, I think both teams are looking to feel things out right now and see where things go.
All right, so we have the Springfield, another big game tomorrow night. And when we air this tomorrow night, we'll say tonight. But, regardless, big game for Springfield. Again, St. Ignatius coming in, playing at Springfield tomorrow night, Friday night, 7 o'clock, week 1 action for the Wildcats and Mo Douglas's team. Mo Douglas has so much talent up and down this roster. They were one of the heartbreak stories from last year. Literally get ready to load up on the bus, and they find out that their playoff game had been canceled. That was the state championship caliber team right there. Unfortunate to see their season end that way. What can we expect from the Wildcats this year, and what can we expect from this matchup with St. Ignatius tonight? Again, super talented roster for Mo Douglas and the Wildcats. What can we expect to see from them tonight as they look to set the season off, with the hot win over St. Ignatius tomorrow night?
Yeah, so Cleveland St. Ignatius, and that has a tremendous amount of tradition and history when it comes to state championships back in the 90s and the early to mid 2000s. They're not quite what they've been in the past, but they're still one of the better teams in Northeast Ohio. And so for Mo Douglas and his younger squad, for the most part, to get a chance to face a school like that will definitely give both them and Ignatius kind of an idea of where things stand and where they're at this point in the year. Mo Douglas, as you said, just a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. You start with Tayshawn Smoot at Springfield. Their quarterback has been at it for a few years now, a starter, dual threat guy who has offers from most of the schools in the MAC and still looking to try to break into the Power 5 scene as far as recruiting goes. You have on the outside Anthony Brown, who has offers from a bunch of SEC schools, Big Ten schools. I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he'd said that for him, most of the highest interest right now is actually coming from Penn State, and so it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. But again, he's a playmaker. A guy that just can do so many things, whether it be reverses, whether it be going deep, or just your regular routes. He's a guy that's going to make things happen. And then you have another junior to be that 2023 class, Sean Thigpen, who has a offer from Syracuse, and I expect that to be the first of many D1 offers. Even Power Fives, kid's 6'4", he can go up and get it. He's fast, and again, he's the perfect pairing to Anthony on the other side of a big receiver that can just go up and tower over smaller DBs. And then on the offensive line, you have Bashawn Washington, who's a 6'5", 280-pound lineman. I mean, you just go up and down both of these sides of the ball, and it's just like player after player. Defensive side, you have Taiwan January, who's defensive tackle, and Jokel Brown. They're the ones that really hold it down when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. They disrupt. They get to the quarterback. They make quarterbacks feel uncomfortable, and that's really the key in today's 21 game of football is making quarterbacks feel uncomfortable and making them get rid of the ball before they want to. And so those guys do that. Javian Norman, I like to call him Honey Badger. If you watch this kid, he will break on the ball as well as anyone you see. Don't go over the middle against him, and don't try to go to the edge against him, because you're bound to get walloped, because this kid brings it every time. And they have so many. They have Delian Bradley, safety, who's got offers from a bunch of Power 5 schools. I mean, again, you just go up and down this roster, and it's just talent, stacked on talent, stacked on talent. So Ignatius, they have a quarterback who started the second half of their year last year, 6'5" kid named Joey Pfaff. I'm interested to see what he has. He, like I said, took over in the middle of the season and did well, but this will be his first year to really get things going from the start. They have a throwback running back named Marty Lenahan, who's a kid that's just going to put his head down and plow through the line. And they got a strong offensive and defensive line. Offensively, they're led by Ashton Montgomery, who's got a lot of D1 interest so far. And then defensively, they have two DBs, Griffin Taliak, and also DB Jack Mangan. So they're going to be a good test for Springfield, a good early on test to see where they're at. I know Mo Douglas is always going to be looking for things that they can work on, improve, and Ignatius will give that for him.
All right, Jared Luganville with Prep Red Zone Ohio going to join us each and every week to give us his top 3 matchups in the Miami Valley to keep an eye on. We talked about Alter and Fairmont, of course, a huge rivalry, battle of Kettering to kick off each and every season. We didn't get that last year. We get that here tonight to kick off week 1 of the high school football season here locally. Big matchups tomorrow, so you highlighted that one right there again. St. Ignatius at Springfield. Great test for Mo Douglas and the Wildcats. And to cap us off here, another big one tomorrow, Winton Woods at Trotwood. Jeff Graham's team, again, reloading, a lot of new, less familiar faces, I should say, getting a lot more opportunities here. Tell us a little bit about Trotwood, what to expect from them, and why did you pick this as one of your top 3 matchups to close this out?
Yeah, so Trotwood, again, as you said, they're very young, but they just have a lot of young talent. And so anytime young talent comes around, I'm always interested to see how they perform, just because it's their first chance to get major experience at the varsity level. As a recruiter and as somebody who evaluates film, it's their first real chance to put film out, varsity film. And so this is really their first chance to do that. And Winton Woods is a very talented team. And honestly, it's a tall order for Trotwood in the very first week of the year. But it's going to, again, like I talked about Coach Douglas, it's going to give Coach Graham a excellent idea of where they stand, things that they need to get better on. And anytime you're the top competition, you want to play the top competition. And so Winton Woods is one of the better teams down in the Cincinnati area, and so that's why I'm interested in seeing them. But Trotwood's got two young sophomores in particular that I'm very interested in seeing. Delmar Blanton, who's a wide receiver, also plays basketball, so he's a two-sport athlete. Isn't really on the scene yet as far as college scene goes, but he's only going to be a sophomore, doesn't really have much varsity film from a football perspective on him, so that's not really a surprise from that perspective. Mike Smith is a defensive back. He did the camp thing this summer and ended up coming out with 2 D1 offers in both Akron, and actually Duke offered him at the camp. And so I saw him at a couple camps this summer, and the kid he flies around. He's got that defensive back mentality of, you can beat me once, but you're not going to beat me twice. And so he was a real fun kid to watch, and someone that I'm excited to see about this fall and how he is able to progress as a player on the field. A couple other kids, not sophomores, but Antoine Blackshear plays on both the offensive and defensive lines. I saw him a lot this summer, and he has an offer from Liberty right now. He's a kid that is again going to disrupt inside and can do a lot of things from that standpoint. And also defensively, I have edge rusher Tyreek Gooch, who is another kid who's back, who will be a senior this year, but another kid that's going to disrupt the quarterback and really cause problems in the backfield for opposing offenses. As far as Winton Woods goes, they're a very talented team. They're a little bit young as well, but offense is going to be a work in progress, but the defense is going to be legit. They have a kid named Seven Blue, who ironically they're blue, but Seven Blue, who's a linebacker, who's a kid who's getting a lot of D2 interest, and I could see end up at a FCS school as well. J-Ron Gibson, who's a defensive tackle, saw him at a camp this summer, super twitchy, and a kid that I really think could go D1, but just hasn't found that interest yet, but starting to get a lot of D2 offers, stacking those up. And then also on the offensive side, we have Demarion Stone and Tariq Spikes. Stone they call Big Baby. He's about 6'6", 280 pounds, and was actually more of a basketball player. Actually played AAU till his junior year, and then decided to focus fully on football. And so I know Coach Murphy down at Winton Woods is super excited about what Demarion's going to be able to do for them this fall. And then Tyreek Spikes is a running back. I think from a passing perspective, again, they're going to be a team that's going to fill it out, but they're going to start by playing defense and running the ball with Spikes. And Spikes is actually a pretty well-recruited baseball prospect as well. And so Cameron Calhoun on defense up there, I think is going to be a Power 5 kid, defensive back. And so just again, kind of like Springfield, talent over the field. They're not quite as experienced yet, but they have a lot of talent there, and they're going to be a team to watch this fall.
All right, Jared Luganville, Prep Red Zone, Ohio. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. We appreciate him taking time and hanging out with us each and every week throughout the regular season. And we'll highlight each and every week some of the top matchups in the Miami Valley. Give him a follow on Twitter at Jared Luganville, JaredLuginbill, Jared Luganville. Give him a follow on Twitter. Our ESPN Dayton Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week tomorrow night will feature the Centerville Elks and the Fairfield Indians. Looking forward to that matchup. And, well, as you know, Jared, Chase Harrison, heck of a quarterback, committed to Marshall, and he has some really explosive weapons on the offensive side. We're in for a treat tomorrow getting to call the Centerville game and to get to see Chase Harrison up close and personal again as he kicks off his senior campaign.
Yeah, Chase is man. It seems like he's been around for a long time now. He's been on that recruiting scene for a while now. But as you said, he's committed to Marshall. He's a in pocket kid, a kid that's gonna throw the ball downfield. He's going to spread the ball around. And his main target, who I got to see actually a lot this summer, Cameron Smith, is just a fantastic talent. 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, and the kid can run. As Coach Ulrich said, he's got great body awareness. Just a smooth athlete, a kid that is is going to be a tough scheme for defensive coordinators going up against them. And so, very excited to see Chase Harrison and Cam Smith go this fall because they're going to light it up over the grass.
All right. Thank you so much, Jared. Much appreciated. Enjoyed your visit, and we'll do this again next week. Excited for the high school football season to be here. A big week one, a lot of big matchups around the Miami Valley. And there you just heard it. We talked about some of the biggest matchups here locally to keep an eye and ear out for. But make sure you keep it locked in here to 1410 ESPN Radio for our top matchup, which features Fairfield at Centerville tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, for our Glazier Softwater High School Football Game of the Week. Jared Luganville, Prep Red Zone, Ohio. Jared, thanks so much for your time. We'll talk next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be partly cloudy with patchy fog, a low near 68. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 88. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
O'Reilly. Do you even remember the last time you changed your spark plugs? Well, then now's a good time. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Put the pep back in your car. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
School's out for summer! But if your business is running QuickBooks, you'll never get a break. Their manual processes, integration difficulties, and glitchy delays will leave you scrambling for the numbers you need. Failing to graduate to NetSuite will leave you stuck in summer school while your friends party. NetSuite by Oracle is the #1 cloud financial system. No matter how big your business grows, with visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and
water.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Ah, there's no place like Panera, where a bite of the toasty, saucy Chipotle chicken avocado melt tastes like, focaccia. A cool and refreshing strawberry poppy seed salad al fresco is so sweet. And a cheesy Chipotle chicken and bacon flatbread pizza in your favorite booth feels just right. So treat yourself, because there's no place like Panera. Order on the app today. Restrictions apply. Visit PaneraBread.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
And Doug.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, so big thanks to Jared Luganville with Prep Red Zone Ohio for giving us time to preview his three top Miami Valley High School football matchups here in Week 1. So we do have an update on Springboro, Kevin.
Oh, okay.
So Springboro and Lebanon were supposed to play here for Week 1.
Right.
Due to contact tracing for a good number of football players in the Lebanon program and throughout the Lebanon camp, they were not able to play this week. So Springboro on Monday announced that they were going to begin looking for a Week 1 opponent. Now, I was like, man, that's difficult. There's not a lot of teams that you could pick from, right? Like, who's available?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not playing, it's probably because of COVID. But apparently, and again, I don't have a list in front of me of teams that were available to play. But on Monday, Springboro had announced that they were actively looking to get a Week 1 opponent. Well, we do have an update they just released on their Twitter account, and if you're watching live on Facebook and YouTube, you can check it out. This is from Austin Rhodes, the athletic director for the Springboro Panthers. He says, and I'm a little irritated, not with him or Springboro, but with how this panned out. It's unfortunate for the kids, by the way. Austin Rhodes released this, again, athletic director for Springboro, says that we have worked diligently all week and offered several schools to play on Friday. Unfortunately, we have not been able to secure an opponent as of 4 p.m. on Thursday. We have to let our team and our workers know that we do not plan to have a game on Friday at this point. If a suitable opponent becomes available tonight or tomorrow morning, we will do our best to scramble to put it together for our kids, because that's what this is about, is for the kids. Please come out and support our team next week at Middletown and Friday, September 3rd at home versus Upper Arlington. Go Panthers. I'm going to give them a huge Go Panthers. Shout out to those kids who are just, practice, it stinks at this point.
Yeah.
You're tired of going up against the same kids, your same friends, your same opponents every day. You want to get out there and smack somebody new.
Yeah.
But here's the problem I have with this, and I have no problem with Austin Rhodes or Springboro. They did what they were supposed to. It's unfortunate. And again, I don't want to get into the sympathy thing too much because the times we're living in, we're fortunate that we're even playing football and that these are some of the hiccups you're going to experience along the way. Here's the problem I have, though. I don't know what schools they reached out to, but Springboro did their homework. They reached out to these teams who were available to play this week. Who turns down an opportunity to play?
Right.
If there is a good justification for it, and I'm missing an obvious reason, let me hear it. But there's no testing COVID protocols at this level that a school could say, well, I'm concerned about COVID, and that's why we don't want to play. So are you shutting down your high school football for the whole season? Why can you play next week and not this week? If you don't have a game this week, you would rather your kids lose a game than to play, whether it doesn't fit into your little playoff point format, whatever the reason may be. There is not one good reason why Springboro should not be playing this Friday. If they did, and I believe that they did, they said they did, if they reached out to these teams who had no game this week and they just turned it down, those schools need to answer to that. And I want to know who those schools are. And it's not the kids on those schools' fault. I want to know from those coaches. I don't know who. Clinton Massey, I think, is what I heard earlier in the week. I don't know. I have to go find out who the schools were. Why would they turn it down? Mm-hmm. You would rather your kids practice all last month, all this month, 2-a-days, go through all this crap, have a chance to play, and adults say, no, that doesn't fit our points system that we're looking for the playoff system, or, oh, no, we don't want to play that school. It's for the kids. Get them on the field. Let them play. Let them play in front of the fans. Let them play under the lights. Let them experience week one like every other high school kid is. That's frustrating. This is when adults drive me crazy. And if there's a real good reason and I have egg on my face, I'll make scrambled eggs with it needed. I don't care. But I can't think of one good reason. One.
Right. Off the top of my head, I really can't think of anything. But what I do know, I know Springboro and who their opponent was. I know they're not the only people or only school out there dealing with a COVID issue who had to cancel the game because their opponent had a COVID outbreak. So for me and you, we think it's as easy as, well, shoot, just dial up that other team and get on the field and play. Just for argument's sake, maybe it's we're a Division 5 school, Springboro's a Division 1 school. Like they're, have so many more students on their football team than we do, and a safety concern or something like that. If it's something like that, totally understandable. But I find it hard to believe in a state as big as Ohio and as far reaching as a high school football goes, there's tons of teams. We got St. Ignatius coming all the way from Cleveland to Springfield to play a game. Mm-hmm. We have teams from Dayton to go up to Columbus and down to Cincinnati all the time to play games. So I find it a little strange or hard to believe that, none of these teams out here are willing to play Springboro. And like you said, it's really about the kids, because the kids that the schools that they did contact and they declined the game, it's not the kids on the football team. The kids on those football teams are more than willing to go out there.
Yeah, that's why I made sure to emphasize not the kids. That's why I said adults.
Yeah, the kids are willing to go out there, and the kids are going to be out doing something kid-related that Friday night anyway, so they might as well be playing a football game. Like you just talked about, like every other high school football team across the state of Ohio. So it's a very unfortunate situation. Maybe they'll have like a scrimmage tomorrow night, an inter-squad scrimmage, so they can invite family and friends out to the game or something of that nature. It just sucks for those kids, especially the seniors. You think about it like this, like last year the season was wonky as a junior, and now you're a senior, you're expected to have your full season and everything like that, and boom, just like that, you thought you had 10 games, now you only have 9 games. So it goes by fast, man. So every high school athlete listen to this, and especially football, since we're in football season and everything like that, cherish these games, because as we've seen, they could be taken away just like that. You could be thinking on a Thursday night going to bed like, oh man, we got a big game on Friday, and wake up and boom, no game on Friday. So give it your all tomorrow night, play to win, play safe, have some fun, and go win some games.
Yeah, because unfortunately, it doesn't have to be your program that it doesn't. Right. It's not your team. It doesn't even have to be someone in your team impacted by COVID. It could be the next week's opponent.
Right.
Next week's opponent could be facing a team this week that ends up finding out on Monday that they had an outbreak, and then now your opponent next week, due to their opponent last week, now knocks you out of next week's game. Like, this isn't going to be the last situation like this. And by the way, I am not like Springboro. Someone from Springboro said, you're annoyed with Springboro. No. I feel bad for Springboro. I think it's frustrating. Like Springboro said, because of Lebanon having the contact tracing element, knocking them out, they didn't have enough eligible players to play Friday. Springboro began on Monday looking for a new opponent. They couldn't find one. And it's not because, every other high school team in the state has a week one opponent. Now, because that was my thinking earlier in the week. I'm like, oh, man, they're not going to find an opponent. But now I'm annoyed because there were options.
Right.
There were teams who aren't playing this week that needed opponents.
Neighboring states too,
yep.
Like Illinois, Kentucky. High school football is a big deal, and it's not just a big deal in Ohio and Georgia and Florida and Texas. It's a big deal everywhere, and we have tons of teams that come and cross state lines to play high school football versus each other. I remember when I was in high school, we played a team from Pennsylvania. Like that was like a thing. Like we always played a team from Pennsylvania, like from Erie or whatever, because Erie is like a rock throw away from Cleveland, so they come over one year, we go over another year. Like it's not that big of a deal. So, it just sucks for the kids, man, because they're not going to be able to play tomorrow night like everybody else. Yeah. And that's where my frustration is stemming from, is for them, because I always think back to and all of you listening, you all played sports. For those of you who have played sports, I always remember this. You couldn't wait for the first day of practice because that meant, oh man, like I would always lose sleep the night before. It was like Christmas Day, the first day of practice. And then I would sleep well the first day of practice because practice sucked. And then it's like, oh God, tomorrow's only day 2 of practice and we have 20 more of these before our first game. And it's like, guys, these kids, they've been busting their tails and they're tired and they finally are to the point where they could put that fatigue to the side because their emotions are taking over. They're excited. They're ready to get out there and play. And now on Friday night and social media stinks this time of year for those kids because all their friends at neighboring schools, all their friends who are in the student section, all the parents, they're all tweeting out with their with their pride for the school and their game results, and here they are on Friday night just sitting down, just thinking about what they should be doing on Friday night. So shout out to the Springboro Panthers football team, thinking of you guys. Like that stinks, and I want to know the schools that Springboro reached out to, what was their justification? I feel like I'm missing a very obvious one, and then I'm going to be like, oh, okay, my bad, I shouldn't have got that. But I'm just frustrated for the kids because if an adult said, no, we didn't have enough time to prepare for this team or whatever, I don't know. I think Springboro was thinking the same thing. Well, we may not have a lot of film on this team, but we could still go out there and play, get a game in. The kids want to play under the lights. The community wants it. But 518-1410, I want to hear from parents, from listeners from Springboro. What's the reaction like? I'm pretty sure the community is pretty frustrated about this. And I want to know if anyone has any inside information as far as why would the schools who have no opponent this week turn down an opportunity to play? That's where my frustration's coming from. 518-1410, 518-1410. For those of you who have listened to this station for a long time, the number is different now. It's no longer, well, I'm not even going to say the other number because I just want to eliminate it altogether. The new call-in number is 518-1410. Kev, who we got? We got Jeff.
Jeff, I appreciate you holding. How are you, sir?
Hey, Kev. Hey, Justin. As a former school employee and everything else, I kind of know that for a lot of the football teams, they only have a certain allotted budget for travel.
Okay.
So if they don't have it in their budget, then a lot of these teams are going to actually have to decline, especially if they have to travel to Springboro. I mean, as much as it stinks for the kids and everything else, they just don't have the allotted budget to do this traveling for sports. I mean,
oh, come on. Gas is only $3 a gallon. No, Jeff, that's a good point. Okay, see, I like people calling in with rationale. I like, okay, didn't think about that. There's a lot of high school football players you have to lug around. There's a lot, the equipment. You're not just taking one bus over. Okay, that's fair.
But, I mean, like I said, as much as I hate it for the Springboro football team, I mean, just like I said, as a former school employee, there's a lot of budgets and a lot of these schools just won't come off some of the budgets.
Yeah, because, locally, I'm looking at the schedule for all of our local teams, and everyone's pretty much in action this weekend. So any potential opponents, I guess, Jeff, you're right. They're probably coming from a decent, mileage away. So that would make sense as far as that's concerned. So, okay, I appreciate that point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
You as well. All right. Thank you to the listeners for bringing a little sense to the show, because I'm thinking with, I'm thinking from a fan perspective, but I always forget there's always behind the scenes reasons as to why it's not as easy just to make something happen. It's, well, why not? You don't have a game. We don't have a game. Let's just play. But do forget, and where's that game going to be played?
Right.
Because I think it was supposed to be at Springboro. So I'm sure so it was supposed it's supposed to be at Springboro. So it's not like, you have to find officials and you have to find people for the board and to run everything. So I don't know. Interestingly enough, though, I just thought this was an interesting story. I did want to give an update because when we started the show earlier, we hadn't heard an update from Springboro as far as tomorrow's concerned. But one more time as we end this part of the show, shout out to Springboro, their football program. And again, looking forward for them to get back out on the field next week. In fact, let's take a look. Who do Springboro next week? They're at, in the press release, they said at Middletown next week. Their next home game will be against Upper Arlington on the September 3rd. So there you go. All right. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Just a reminder, tomorrow, our Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week will be at Centerville as they'll be welcoming in Fairfield. Again, excited for that matchup tomorrow night. Centerville will welcome in Fairfield for our Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and myself will be on the call. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, coverage and kickoff at 7 right here on 1410 Wing AM. More updates from Browns and Bengals camp coming up on the other side, plus the No Fun League. I thought we had got past this whole I thought we had got past this, penalizing teams for showing excitement. I mean, didn't we rip baseball for this all the time, and football 3 steps forward, they want to go backwards now. We'll talk about that coming up here to close out the show in the final hour and a half. Plus NFL stadiums, NFL teams across the NFL, of course, are coming out. Different opinions on this as far as requiring vaccination cards to be shown to attend an NFL game. What happens if the Bengals do that? What if your Browns do that? What if your Ohio State Buckeyes do that? That's all coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Sports Medicine.
Ready for renovations? Arts Rental Equipment has the tools you need to make your home, lawn, and garden stand out this year. From brush chippers to cutoff saws, no job is too small or too big. Visit your local Arts store today. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Hustler Turf commercial mowers are built tough to work hard. Whether you need a fleet of mowers or are a one-man show, you don't have time for downtime. Hustler mowers are over-engineered, overbuilt, and tested well beyond what is required, with the most complete lineup in the industry, including exclusives like a 104-inch Super 104, an 88-inch stand-on, and industry-leading warranties. Hustler mowers are ready to handle what you throw at them. Build your fleet to be reliable and versatile with Hustler Turf. Visit Small Engine Service Pros in New Carlisle today.
As much as we say we love nature, when it comes to bugs, not so much. When it comes to trees, the Ohio chapter of the International Society of Arboriculture wants you to know that most insects are not harmful to trees, especially if their populations are small. There are exceptions to that, but don't forget, every insect has a predator that's just looking to make it a meal. So sometimes it's just good to let nature take care of itself. If you're concerned about insects in your trees, find an ISA certified arborist near you at treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8-ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com. Rocket.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Maybe now is the time for a new job and a fresh start. Alpha Media Dayton and ESPN 1410 Wing are interviewing for radio account executives. Radio reaches more people than any other medium, and combined with our digital ad products, you will provide clients with effective on-air and online solutions that deliver results. If you consider yourself driven, competitive, have sales experience, and want to work in radio, we need you. To submit your resume, log on to wingam.com and click careers. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
When you're ready to buy something, the first thing you do is go online. But buying a home is different. You've got loan applications, pre-approvals, competing offers, the list goes on. That's where a Realtor comes in. Realtors have expertise and local knowledge to give you a competitive edge that a search bar just can't. And in today's market, an edge is what you need. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first thing to do is make sure you have an agent who's a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hurry to JCPenney and score 3 days of big savings for back to school. Shop hundreds of doorbusters all day, Friday to Sunday, while they last, and stock up on active gear, like 50% off select exertion tees, tanks, and capris for women. Plus, get fast savings on Fila athletic shoes for the family, starting at $24.99. Or use your coupon and get an extra 30% off at checkout. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Doorbusters valid 8/20 to 8/22 and excluded from coupon. Coupon valid through 8/22. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Do you have a home improvement project? Use the right tool for the job and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. Arts has the best selection from power washers and ladders to loaders and dump trailers. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
You may have heard that Allstate has new low auto rates, but isn't it time to see for yourself? Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Don't miss the ESPN Dayton Glacier Softwater High School Football Game of the Week every Friday night, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will have the call all season long. Check out wingam.com for the complete schedule and to stream the games live. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Well, it was made official during the commercial break that unfortunate news for former Cincinnati Bengal and now New York Jets pass rusher Carl Lawson is out for the season. Unfortunately, he had a freak injury earlier in practice today. And I think that before it was even confirmed, a lot of the media that was covering practice today was basically adamant that, yeah, that's exactly what the injury was based on the rumblings they were hearing. Unfortunately, Carl Lawson, his season comes to an end. And that's unfortunate because I was really interested to see what he was going to do, building off the success that he had in Cincinnati. I think it did. So probably Bengals fans are happy with what they ended up with from a pass rush standpoint. But you got to understand, like, that still was a risky gamble to take. Let's just put it that way. By, letting him just go. You didn't know you were going to get Hendrickson. Because the thing about the Bengals, you can't just assume that, well, we'll spend money and go replace him. You can't just assume that anyone's going to want to come play for you. So that's where it's not like, some of these established franchises that that are known winners and that are, a lot of times these free agents are going to go somewhere where they know they could win. Cincinnati's not that. So they're lucky. It wasn't good business decisions. It was they were lucky that they got bailed out there. It's unfortunate that Joseph Osai, I know you said you didn't watch it. That dude has a motor. Really? Even that's coming from me, who always likes to rip the Bengals. It's unfortunate about his wrist injury, but my goodness, that kid can play. So they got a good one in him.
Yeah, the Cincinnati Bengals, man, like they got guys and names that we know, you know what I'm saying? With the Hubbard, you know, the former Buckeye and everything like that, Von Bell, you know, and me being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, them signing big money to get Hilton and everything like that. So they got guys that people know and recognizable names. Can they gel on defense? Can that offensive line get better to protect Joe Burrow and open up some running lanes? I think it just really all comes back to the offensive line. I think like that's the sticking point. And everybody loves the weapons. Everybody loves the long throws downfield and the big plays in the passing game. But without that offensive line, man, if the offensive line is still going to be that sticking point where you can't generate enough points or can't protect your quarterback enough, I don't care how good the defense is if you're not going to be able to keep your quarterback upright.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key. And by the way, the Cincinnati Bengals too, trying to figure out where they want to go without Osai now as well. Not, with him being out for a while, like they're trying out other players. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go. They have a preseason game tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow. Who plays the night then? I thought it was the night.
I think the Bucks play. Hold up, let me pull that up. What's our in Dayton, our local sports show? I need to listen to them more because that's the type of thing that they should know, correct? Like, I think it's pretty simple. But no, NFL preseason.
Okay, is the Pats and the Eagles tonight.
Oh, okay, so I was close. Bucks. I thought of Tom Brady Bucks, but it's his old team with that. Though I know you don't like preseason. I tune in to watch the first drive or two just to see a glimpse of the first teams. I wanted to see Cam Newton. Cam Newton didn't do anything explosive, just a couple little short passes here and there. Mac Jones, same thing. It wasn't like everyone's like, oh, Mac Jones looks so impressive. It was solid. It was okay. Go out there, don't turn it over, look the part. He did that. No one's winning a job on the first drive, what have you. The Justin Fields thing in Chicago fascinates me as far as what's taken off there. Justin Fields may or may not be what everyone thinks that he is, but like I feel bad for not feel bad, but like Andy Dalton.
Sympathy meter.
It's at a 4 for him. We haven't done the sympathy meter in a while. It's at a 4 for Andy Dalton just because he signed to be the starter, and things change overnight all the time. Right. So that's the nature of the business. So I'm not going to go there. But like the thing is, if he was going to be a backup this year, I think he would have stayed in Dallas. I think he would have stayed in Dallas. He went to Chicago because the door was open for a starter because the Bears did not anticipate having a quarterback of Fields' caliber dropping to them.
Right.
So that's kind of where it's at there. So that situation changed dramatically. My thing with the Bears is they got to figure out what the heck they're doing because I know you got to wait and see what the rookie does in camp, but the bottom line is that if the Jets would have taken Fields, if anyone in the top 10 would have taken Fields, he'd be their starter. So that's why I don't know what the Bears are doing here. What are you doing?
The biggest difference between the Bears and the Jets and the Jags is the Jets are horrible. The Bears were, yes, they made the playoffs. They were decent, though. And the reason they were decent is because of that lights out defense and everything like that. And they were an average football team at best with Mr. Trubisky at the helm. So for them, they're thinking they do have a decision to make. Do we want to go out there with the veteran guy? And can the veteran get us maybe 2 or 3 more wins than Mr. Trubisky did last year? Or do we want to roll out there with the rookie? Because we do believe that our defense is still going to be at that elite level like it was last year, enough to win us a couple games here and there. But for the Jets, I mean, they were a dumpster fire, like from the word go. You know what I mean? And we saw everything that happened with Jacksonville after that first game of the season. They won their first game, and then they basically lost like 12 straight games last year. So for those teams, like, it was just hard to watch. But at least with the Bears, at least they were in games. So I think they actually do have a decision to make. Do we want to go with the young guy or do we want to go with the veteran? And I don't think that Fields takes the starting job until midway through the season. Kind of how Colin Kaepernick took the job from Alex Smith. Like, I think he has to get his feet up underneath him, understand the speed of the game, and then kind of almost unleash this secret weapon on the rest of the league. That's what I'm predicting.
But if all reports out of camp are everyone's questioning, why is he not the starter?
Right.
And they're doing what I always call teams out for. They're trying to do the right thing of veteran quarterback leads, rookie quarterback sits out, learns, and then takes off. That doesn't work. It hasn't worked for decades. That was like the 90s and early 2000s mentality. It really started shifting in the last decade as far as that goes. When teams draft you high to be their guy, they're not you need to develop him this year. Let him get his licks in this year. I have no clue the purpose of sitting him behind Andy Dalton. If he's your franchise quarterback and he truly is looking the part, get him out there, because what's going to happen is the only thing that the Bears are waiting for, and in a 17-game regular season it's going to happen, they're just waiting for that first couple game stretch where they don't look good, and then the fans are going to boo the hell out of Andy Dalton, whether it's his fault or not. Their offensive line's not great. They don't have great weapons. They're okay defensively. Like, they didn't really, do anything earth-shattering in the offseason. So when they start slumping and struggling, then they'll go to Justin Fields. I'm like, why are you going to wait to kill the morale of Andy Dalton? It would be better to have Andy Dalton as a good veteran backup quarterback early in, to have his head on straight if Justin Fields gets injured or just can't do it.
Right.
I would rather teams do the opposite. Start your rookie, let him show that he's not ready, and go to your veteran. And then your fans are a little bit calmer at that point. Oh, now I see why Andy Dalton started. But by starting Andy Dalton and all the reports coming out of camp are that Justin Fields killing it, the fans are already turning on Andy Dalton because you're in the way of what we really want to see.
Right.
To where give the fans and Justin Fields right away, and don't let him not earn it. I think he's earned it. I mean, by everything that we've seen so far to this point. Now, he could be garbage the rest of the way. But if he continues at this pace, let him lose the job. Don't let Andy Dalton lose the job. Let the rookie lose the job, to where the offense could still feel like, okay, we got a veteran coming in now to take over for the rookie, and we can maybe still salvage this season. To where if your veteran can't get it done and you're relying on a rookie to come in and save you, that doesn't happen very often. Lamar, it worked with him, but that was because of a total shift in how they played offensively. It totally opened up the door. That's not going to happen with Fields. I just think don't start Andy Dalton, because he's not your starter. That he's not your starter. He won't be your starter by the end of the season. And I have no clue why you want to split the season up into 2 8-week seasons. So that's kind of where I'm at. But
I think Nagy, he comes from that Andy Reid situation, because, we saw with Andy Reid, he didn't start Patrick Mahomes off the rip. Patrick Mahomes sat his entire rookie year, started one game as a rookie, and then even further back with Andy Reid, Donovan McNabb didn't start as a rookie. So I think maybe Nagy's coming from that approach. Like, all right, I'm not going to start him off yet. If he earns it and takes it, or like you said, if we hit that blip in the middle of the season where we quote unquote need that spark, maybe that's the aspect they're going with, because that's the way he learned under Andy Reid.
Yeah, but the thing is, he has to be smart enough to know that the situation with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, not even close to being the same here, because the Bears aren't a playoff team. They're just a middle of the pack team that's still going to be just on the outside looking in. The reason Andy Reid couldn't take the job from Alex Smith is because Alex Smith was playing just enough at a high enough level that you couldn't take the job from them. They were winning. They were in the playoffs. They won a lot of games with Alex Smith. It wasn't like they were like an 8-win, 500 team that snuck into the playoffs. They were a very, very good team. And then you put Patrick Mahomes on what was already a very, very good team. So it's not like here where all of a sudden you're just going to plug in Fields and they take off, because it's the same. It's not even close to being the same situation as far as that goes. But I love all of this. This is what keeps the preseason interesting to me, is because you're tuning in to see what these guys do. But the problem is I'm like, okay, Justin Fields was throwing for a lot of yards, but that was against third, fourth stringers, guys that aren't even going to be playing in the NFL. So that's why I don't get too caught up in, he threw a nice ball. Well, of course he throws a nice ball. That's how he got to be drafted to begin with. It's not about that. Byers brought up a good point the other day. The thing with Justin Fields, it's about being able to decipher all the information.
Yes, sir.
Byers talked about he has a friend that practices medicine, and that his friend, really, he knows everything out there you could imagine. He's memorized every dosage. He knows everything, but he can't make quick enough decisions when you know what I mean? Like, so that's the thing. That's here. That's why Byers rolls his eyes when he hears people say, oh, he's picking up the playbook quick. Well, you're supposed to. Even the third stringers can pick up the playbook quick. The people that can't pick up a playbook, they're cut.
Right.
So, of course, he's picking up the playbook, but it's a matter of when you drop back, can you make quick, instant decisions? Can you make decisions on the fly?
What the defense is doing to you and make the right throw at the right time? You're not back there thinking, because if you think a split second, pick 6 to the house.
So that's why when we talk about guys who don't come from Power 5 programs, well, man, he throws for a lot of yards. Well, of course he does. Look at the competition. It's not that you're discrediting the competition, but what you're doing is discrediting the speed of the game. If you're Trey Lance the defensive competition you're going up against, not NFL players, not NFL caliber speed, not SEC speed. So, of course, you could drop back and make decisions against non-NFL speed defenses, but what happens when you face an NFL speed defense? And that's even the case for Justin Fields and others. But at least when you're in the Power 5, that speed, it's very similar to that of what you're going to see in the NFL. And actually, as good as it is, it's still slow compared to the NFL. Right. That's how crazy that is. All right, the No Fun League. We'll get to that on the other side of the break. Plus, a lot of NFL teams right now requiring that you show a vaccination card to be able to attend their home games. What happens if the Browns and Bengals do that? What happens if the Buckeyes do that at the college level? How will the reaction be around here locally? We'll get to all that coming up next, hour 3. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hi, John Glazer here for Glazier Soft Water. We've been making water great since 1988, and no matter what your water issues, we have solutions. Your city water can be clear, but still be hard and have the taste and odor of chlorine. Well water can look, smell, and taste terrible. Glazier Soft Water will fix your water and will even include a 7-year parts and labor warranty, so you don't have to worry. Visit our website to learn more at glaziersoftwater.com. Glazier Water really is better water.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6, leaving the light on for the three-dimensional soccer fan. Those cardboard cutouts were feeling a little flat. They didn't even yell goal for as long as possible when we finally scored. Well, while the cardboard you is packed away, the real you can head to the next road game. Motel 6 will help you get back into the action with clean, comfortable rooms at a great low rate. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need a dependable body shop, we're here to help, repairing all makes and models. Our technicians have over 125 years experience. That means we can repair your vehicle quickly and efficiently. Our department is state-of-the-art with new equipment to get you back on the road quickly. We offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Those nagging aches in your foot or ankle simply won't go away on their own. Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet based on their education, training, and experience. Your podiatrist can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, and show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. Ask if your podiatrist is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. The Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association has been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years, and we look forward to caring for Ohioans' feet for another 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Staples Connect has everything to help you get ready for back to school with amazing prices for everything on your list. Visit your local Staples store, staplesconnect.com, and be more than ready for school. Staples.
Week 1 of the high school football season is officially here. The Centerville Elks welcome in the Fairfield Indians Friday night at 7 p.m. for the ESPN Dayton Glazier Softwater Game of the Week. Listen live at 1410 Wing AM or stream at wingam.com. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. What are you going to miss? He struck him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
NFL preseason scoreboard update. The Angels lead the Tigers 13-10. Oh, wait, no, that's a Major League Baseball game. Sorry. I saw the high score. Well, that's not a high score for a football game, but that's not a score you're used to seeing in a baseball game. How about that? The Angels in the bottom of the ninth lead it with 2 outs, 13-10 over the Tigers. How about that?
Touchdown.
Field
goal.
The Tigers trail by a field goal. Can the Angels keep the Tigers out of the red zone? That's going to be the big question as they try to close that out. But nonetheless, football season is here, and there you go. I saw someone the other day tweet out that sports radio needs to do a better job at talking more baseball in August. And I said, first of all, every market is different. And this market's used to having the team we follow out of it by the end of April. So I hate when people try to tell everybody how to do, like, every market is different. Every season is different. Like, we've talked more Reds in the month of August than we have at any point over the last few years since I've been here. I know that much. So there is that. But either way. All right. So interesting. Over the weekend, John Mara, the New York Giants co-owner, one of the owners, was asked. He was at a press conference addressing just issues with his own team, and they were talking about he's a part of the competition committee, and there was a heavy emphasis on taunting in the NFL this year. And this quote, is this reaction to the press conference has really garnered a lot of attention from sports shows all week. And I wanted to jump in on this too, because when I listened to him talk, I have no clue why there is so much outrage. I understand why people are annoyed, but you would think that this dude just said some of the most outlandish, crazy things. Take a listen. I don't view it and listen to it the way others do. John Mara, the New York Giants co-owner, on part of the NFL competition committee, talking about coming down hard on taunting in the NFL. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we discuss every year in the competition committee. We get kind of sick and tired of the taunting that does go on from time to time on the field. We've tried to balance the sportsmanship with allowing the players to have fun, and there's always a fine line there, but none of us like to see that, and it's just a question of whether you can have rules that can be enforced without taking the fun out of the game too. But nobody wants to see a player taunting another player. I know I certainly don't, and I think the rest of the members of the competition committee feel the same way too.
So the big question I have, what did he say that's wrong? Taunting. I don't think it's that big a deal. In the NBA, you can't even wave your finger in someone's face without getting a technical. No one loses their mind about that. Major League Baseball, well, that's not a good example there. Hockey, you at least get to punch people. I mean, I have no clue what the problem is here. This isn't like when the NFL came out, like when Terrell Owens did the cauldron, or who was it? Was that T.O.? Who did the cauldron leap? Was that Zeke? Or T.O. at Cowboy Stadium on Thanksgiving Day or whatever.
Inside the
little cauldron or whatever.
I think it was Zeke.
Okay. So people love that. I love that. I find that entertaining. Wasn't taunting, celebrating a touchdown, having fun. T.O., we all know the crazy stuff he did. When the NFL tried banning that stuff, I was ticked. I was like, why? That's the stuff that goes viral, whatever. This isn't that. What he is saying is, and I get annoyed with this too, and Byers has talked about this too. Your team could be down 28-0, and you pick up a 2-yard first down, and you have guys getting up and clapping and taunting and jawing and getting in the face. I'm like, know the room, dude. Like, your team's down. Like, what are you taunting for? It cracks me up, the teams that are losing, and they pick up a 2-yard first down, and they're pumping their chest and taunting and stuff. I have no problem with them eliminating this. We saw in the Super Bowl when he, goes in the finger of the defender and gives him the peace sign. Was I angry? Was I the get off my lawn guy? No. But I also can look at that and understand why they want to eliminate that out of the game. I don't tune into football to watch that. I also don't turn it off. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me. I'm trying to think how to word. Like, I don't tune in to watch that. It's not going to make me tune away or tune in or turn the game off one way or another. It doesn't bother me. But I understand why they don't want you doing that. I don't understand why this is a problem. They are not taking away your touchdown dances or your touchdown celebrations. Am I wrong? No, you're fine. And real quick, the competition committee, by the way, is coming down hard on this.
Yeah, buddy.
And Rich McKay with the Atlanta Falcons, John Mara with the Giants, Stephen Jones with the Cowboys, Mark Murphy with the Packers, Ozzie Newsome with the Baltimore Ravens, Mike Tomlin with the Steelers. Oh, that's why. See, it's your coach's fault. He's ruining it for everybody. No, Mike Tomlin with the Steelers, John Elway with the Broncos, Sean Payton with the Saints, and Ron Rivera with Washington. Ron Rivera even came out and spoke on it and said that, no, he totally supported Mara's stance on this, that they're not trying to eliminate the celebrations, the touchdowns. Why? Let me ask. Go to the YMCA to if we don't have kids, but I'm sure if we did, I don't think if my kid was doing it, I'd probably laugh with my wife off to the side if my kid's being a little jerk, because I'm a little jerk too. So, but I would be like scolding him or her, saying, "Don't do that. We can't do that." We teach kids about being respectful and sportsmanship and all this. And then at what age is it acceptable to not have sportsmanship anymore? At what age is it? If we go to high school games tomorrow night and a high school player gets a first down and goes up and does the peace sign in someone's face or gets in the flag is going to be thrown. We don't get mad at that unless it's our team that's getting the flag, of course. So why is this a problem? Because I listened to it 100 times, and Stephen A is appalled and disgusted, and Max Kellerman is disgusted, and Colin Cowherd is disgusted. I'm like, why? I don't think this is different than any other sport in the history of the world, saying, yeah, taunting is not necessary. Even the NBA doesn't let you taunt, and I get it.
I think what people are talking about is where's the line between a celebration and a taunt. I think that's where it is. I think that with Antoine Winfield Jr. did to the Cheetah last year in the Super Bowl, that was taunting. What the Cheetah does on the way to the end zone, throwing up the deuces, I think that's a celebration. Will the Cheetah be Tyreek Hill? I'm sorry. Will Tyreek Hill be flagged for taunting this year when he throws up the deuces and because he catches a 5-yard slant and then runs 80 yards to the end zone and nobody's 20 yards near him? Is that taunting now? And that's where I have an issue, because what they showed, some of the things that the referees determined taunting throughout the preseason, that seems like celebration to me. That doesn't seem like taunting to me. So I think that it needs to be a clear definition of what is taunting and what is a celebration, because that's where I'm unclear on, because the stuff that
that's fair.
They were throwing up like this year so far, like a dude clapping or a dude doing this, the incompletion sign after making a PBU, a pass breakup, that's called taunting now. That's a bit much for me.
But isn't it though?
No, you can't celebrate. You can't celebrate.
So in basketball, someone if you go high hands on it as a defender, go out and he misses the shot, and you go no good. That's a technical. You're going to get teed up for that.
No.
Yeah, no. If you're John at the player that you're defending, if your celebration is towards the player that didn't catch it or what have you, look, bottom line is I don't think you're wrong. Like I said, that doesn't bother me. I'm agreeing with you while disagreeing at the same time. I'm disagreeing from the standpoint of if they want to come down on this, more power to them. I don't know one human being that says I'm going to a football game to watch that. It doesn't mean that it's like, so if they take that away, is your viewing experience different?
I don't necessarily.
I guess that's what I always ask myself: is what is this? How is this impacting me?
But I'm not thinking about it from my experience as a fan. I'm thinking about it from the player's perspective and the actual game and the competition in the game. They say this is the competition committee. So what does that have to do with the competition of the game? I'm not sure that has anything to do with what actually happens on the field. And basically, last year they implemented the celebration camera because no one was in the stadiums and everything like that. So you can go run down, you make an interception at the 50-yard line, you run 50 yards to the other end zone and celebrate in front of the camera. That's okay. But if you do a chest bump, that's a penalty. Like I saw somebody get penalized for doing a chest bump with another teammate. Like, how is a chest bump taunting?
More context here with the play. So when they did the chest bump, you said to the teammate. What was the play? How did it go down?
It was I believe they showed like a little clip. They were showing like clips on ESPN and showing some of the things that were flagged for taunting throughout the preseason so far. Can't remember the teams. It was a DB. He made the incompletion and then he chest bumped with another guy on his team.
Yeah.
Penalty. Like what? Like I don't understand how that is a penalty. I don't understand how that is taunting the other team that I'm celebrating making a play with my teammate. Like that's not barking in someone's face. That's not doing the keep to lead, breaking somebody's chain off their neck. That's not someone barking. That's not somebody's punching anybody. That's not taunting. That's celebrating. So I think the NFL needs to do one of those old school videos that they used to do about, this is an illegal hit. This is a legal hit. This is a catch. This isn't a catch. Because if a chest bump and an incompletion sign is now a taunting penalty, then we might as well go out there with Rock'em Sock'em robots, because that's what they want. Because that's not a penalty. A celebration with your teammates, for goodness sake, isn't a penalty. This isn't even the look at me type of celebration. This is, I'm celebrating with my team, and he got a 15 yards? I can't remember exactly what the penalty is, but you get a flag for that. And think about that happening like in a Super Bowl. Say it's the Super Bowl and your team is up. Say the Browns are up. Say the Browns are up in the Super Bowl. And,
sounds legit.
and
sounds realistic.
And Tom Brady, 4th and 10, and Greg Newsome makes a play on the ball, and it's incomplete on 4th down, and the Browns are about to take over and kneel it out and win the Super Bowl, and the referee taunting on Newsome, 1st down. Typical for Tom Brady. That's what would happen for Tom Brady, by the way. And then they march right down and win the Super Bowl. That's still a taunting? No, that's not a taunting then. That's not a taunting 20 years ago. That's not a taunting 50 years ago or 50 years into the future. Look, man, they need to clearly define what is taunting and what ain't, because a chest bump and an incompletion sign, not taunting. And to expect people to just be out there and be robots and not have any type of emotion after making a big time play is crazy. I get where you're coming from, and trust me, I can't stand it either, where you and Byers are talking about how a team is down 20-something points in the 4th quarter and they get a 1st down as the clock is still ticking under 5 minutes, and they're out here doing the feed me thing and 1st down. Like, it's more annoying than anything, but I still don't think it's a penalty for celebrating.
Yeah, I mean, Byers is the one that did the snow angel. He got the touchdown and fell in the end zone, did the snow angel. Look, bottom line is I guess at the end of the day, I laugh at the things that people get outraged over, that really at the end of the day, if you think back, if you sit down and calm down and realize that, okay, if I went to an NFL game or if I'm watching on TV and my favorite receiver makes a touchdown catch or makes a big play, if he was no longer allowed to do a little dance move in the face of the defender, would that ruin my viewing? No. That's why I'm not really outraged about this. I thought that Mara, or whatever his name is, got ripped for his comments. I didn't even disagree with any of his comments. Like, I think that they should want to eliminate what he said. To your point, though, there is no clear differential as far as what is the line between celebrating and taunting. What he's so he got. I
don't even know what a catch is in the NFL anymore,
and we've still been figuring that out since the Cowboys had Des Bryant. So the bottom line is I'm with you on that. Like, do we have to like it? No. Is it going to ruin the viewing experience? No. Are jersey sales going to drop because there's no more taunting in the game? No one goes to the game to watch taunting. No one turns it off because of the taunting. But also the competition committee, they bring these points to the table that are fed to them from coaches around the league and from owners around the league. Mm-hmm. So Mara, unfortunately, spoke out. Probably shouldn't have, because then he was put on blast as the face of this. Players coming out then saying, oh, so you just want us to shut up and play. And I'm like, here we go. Now it's going to be turned into this whole race thing that it's not. And it was presented that way on a couple different things I've read and heard throughout the week. And even Ron Rivera had to come out and say, first of all, that's not what this is at all. This was strictly us enforcing this within the competition committee based on what coaches and owners around the league have come together. That's the purpose of this, is to collaborate, to talk about this, to bring it to the table. I think the issue now is finding what the line is, not that they want to eliminate taunting. You should want to eliminate taunting. Taunting doesn't have a place anywhere, really. Does it bother me? Am I one of those guys that gets offended by taunting? No, but I also get the justification for why you'd want to eliminate it. I just watched that Malice at the Palace thing the other night. That has nothing to do with, well, it kind of started from the taunting thing. It was the dunk. It was the hard foul late in the game, but it was one of those things where things got chippy. Mm-hmm. You want to know why you also want to eliminate the taunting thing? Because you want to eliminate the scuffles. And the scuffles happen because, hey, you don't like the way he smiled at you after you dropped the ball, or he didn't like how he did the peace sign and the deuces sign in front of your face. Those things, you eliminate those, you also increase the likelihood that something does break out, fights between teams. Stuff that we don't care about. We don't care about that, but that's things that coaches and owners talk about behind closed doors, sponsors and stuff like that. Those are kind of like earlier when I said, why would a team not want to play them if they have we're not thinking from the perspective of a school employee that has to, or, has to make these decisions for whether or not to go play this game or not. So that's kind of where it's at here. But I have no issue with them wanting to crack down on it. But I also do agree with you. I have an issue with them not being able to clearly draw the line as far as what is taunting and what's not. Because I agree with you. In the NBA, you make a big three, you get a big dunk, you go chest bump your teammates or what have you. That's not a technical,
right?
But like when Andrew Bynum gets the dunk and he does the puts the arms up at Shaq, that's still my favorite one of all time, by the way. So yeah, I think that just clarifying it is
for
all.
me. The NFL has a lot of more things to worry about or to fix than taunting. Like we talked about, we don't know what a catch is. We have a terrible overtime rule where we have ties for some strange reason. We have fumbles that go forward out of the end zone and they're awarded to the other team.
Ridiculous.
Like, there's a lot of things out here that just don't make any sense to anybody, but we are going to go to the competition committee about taunting. Like, shouldn't we be fixing the actual things that happen in between the lines before we're fixing things that taunting? Like, I just don't get it. I mean, there's tons of things that we could be fixing about the NFL, but I just don't understand why taunting is such a hot button issue for them to fix before they fix the other issue.
But it's not a hot button topic to them. It's just one of a long list of things that they have addressed this offseason, but the crybaby players have to throw the little temper tantrums. And, oh, what do you mean I can't do my little jumping jack thing after I make a catch? Just catch the damn ball. Let your play do the talking. Why do you just whatever. Get off my lawn. There you go.
Yeah, man. Let him wear a Rolex on the field.
No, he can. Leave OBJ out of this. Rent free, baby. And all your heads, every one of you. Haters gonna hate. All right, that wraps it up for that. No, but I got a good. Like I said, I listened to that little comment, the little press conference thing. I'm like, I didn't have a problem with what he said. They wanted to crack down on the taunting, but I think it's to your point. When you go look at what they consider taunting is the problem. Not that they're cracking down on taunting; it's what they consider taunting. And
this is football, by the way, man. Like, come on, there is going to be a lot of trash talk. It's football, for goodness sakes, man. This ain't. I mean, it's trash talk in every sport. Trash talk in track and field. Dude run 800 laps around the track and still come up talking trash. Like, competition, it's going to be trash talking, no matter what the sport is. I mean, video games, real games, it's going to be some smack talking, and that's part of it. So I do believe that, obviously taunting isn't like a good thing, but you can't tell me when Antoine Winfield Jr. ran up to Tariq Hill and flashed the deuces, gave him a taste of his own medicine. That was funny. That's a sellable moment for the NFL. But I get what you're saying. Like, there does have to be a line in the sand where, all right, man, we can't go overboard with the taunting. So I understand. They need to clarify what is taunting and what isn't taunting, because the stuff that I've seen that they showed on that little highlight tape from ESPN, maybe 2 out of the 10 that I saw, I agree with taunting.
No fun league. We'll be back. More of the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine next.
It's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be partly cloudy with patchy fog, a low near 68. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 88. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
Did you know there's dust floating around your home?
Really?
Yeah. Dust starts on hard surfaces like shelves and ceiling fans. And when you walk by, dust starts to move, compromising the quality of the air you and your family breathe.
So what do I do?
Get Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster. Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster is the fast and easy way to trap and lock dust.
Before it gets into the air.
Exactly. So you can just... Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster, proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should.
People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
O'Reilly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Coverall Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With the excitement of summer activities, let Roosters help keep family dinners as part of your schedule. With menu options to please everyone, from our award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, to salads, pizzas, subs, and more. Let Roosters do the cooking so you can relax, be present, and enjoy time with your family. From our Roosters family to yours, thank you for your support this past year and always. Roosters, a fun, casual family joint.
Hi folks, it's me again, and I'm cooking in the sun just like you are. But you know, you can still plant those trees and shrubs right now, and with proper watering, still gain a full summer's growth. We keep our garden center fully stocked all summer long with thousands of good, healthy trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and annuals, because we know that some folks just can't get it all done in the spring. Also, this time of the year, there are lots of bargains all over our 6-acre nursery and greenhouses. We have potted rose bushes as low as $8.95, flats of annuals starting at $8.95, and hanging baskets starting at $6.95. We still have a great selection of Rose of Sharon, boxwoods, hydrangeas, and barberry, and lots of ponds, pottery, and statuary. So come on out to 1309 Brand Pike, and remember, we're open 7 days.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hitting a hiring roadblock? With Indeed Instant Match, get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description when you sponsor a post. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We got Reds baseball tonight. The Reds looking to put that Cubs series behind them. Well, it is behind them, but it's a matter of whether or not they bring some of that no mojo with them. That was a horrible 2-game stretch to close out that Cubs series. They start 1 of 4 tonight with the Marlins. Jonathan India, Tyler Naquin, Nick Castellanos will bat first, second, and third. 4th, 5th, and 6th hitters, Joey Votto, Tyler Stevenson, Mike Moustakas. This is the worst baseball lineup read of all time. And then Kyle Farmer, Aristides Aquino, and Luis Castillo will pitch. But Mike Moustakas, another game in the lineup at third base. You know, I went on this long rant about how they need to get Eugenio for 3 out of the lineup, so that Moustakas can get every day at bats, and the dude can't put the damn bat on the ball either. So something has to. Moustakas has to start swinging the bats and putting the ball in play as well. Of course, he's been injured a lot, coming back. He has a couple big games. Then, of course, David Bell sits him for whatever apparent reason. Now wants him to play again. But look, this isn't a Moustakas issue. It's an offensive issue from top down. Everyone had bad outings against the Cubs, and they need to put that behind them and start swinging the bats against a very, against a Marlins team that this is a very winnable series. The Reds have been bailed out because while they were losing 2-3 to the Cubs, the Rockies have, the Padres have lost a couple in a row, and the Reds are a game and a half out of a wild card spot. They got bailed out. What do they do with that opportunity? We'll find out tonight. Reds Marlins, 7:10 the first pitch, 6:40 the pregame. We'll step away for a few moments. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Now